actually. I don't do this during the podcast. So this is a custom video that I got.
Oh, nice.
And
I'm gonna make myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean in for them to see my face, but it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, don't worry too much about the live stream. Worry about the podcast because
Yeah.
the live stream is not that important.
so it came with like the little painting.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it more podcast. And then my edition number. And then like my name and stuff.
Look here. Ooh, the nun.
It's freaking scary.
I'll be right back, guys.
She doesn't know what to stand, but she can stand on her own feet. And then the different head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about it like QMX is making one, so I'm kind of curious to see what theirs is versus mine.
Yeah.
That one's coming with like also 2 heads and more hands and stuff. And I'm like, whatever, this is a cool little custom. And they were priced about the same. So she cost me $220 shipped, and then I think QMX is like $199, but plus shipped, it'd be about the same.
When you have a second, I'll take out Deadshot here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm leaning for it.
Yeah, I'll get ready to get Deadshot ready here because my only complaint with the Deadshot, and I'm gonna have to have Zachary probably do some work on this, is his head. So the way it works is he doesn't actually have a neck. He has like a little ball joint that you snap the head into. If that and you'll see what I mean when you see it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it doesn't. It's hard to snap in, and the base Will Smith head. I didn't notice it after I bought it. It was so you got the ball joint and then you got the part where it connects to the neck. Well, that part's loose and it slides out easily. So I may have to see what Zach recommends glue wise.
That's true.
Yeah. So
I wonder if Zach has an extra stand for her.
probably does. I if I had known, I would have brought my extra stand. I have like 5 of them sitting around.
Yeah, I have one extra, but I have failed.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I was hoping to get the camera like at a different angle, so this way
yep.
we can off it.
There's
Oh,
that's
that's what you
perfect
mean?
example. Yeah, it's hard
Oh,
as heck to get that in there.
that is weird.
Yeah. It's don't just be careful when y'all are. I'm pretty sure if y'all can mess with it, it's fine. Just be careful when you're messing with the head because of that.
No, I feel you.
Because I'm too nervous to put it in properly. Probably. I don't want to mess up on that. I should do it like this. But yeah, it's Deadshot's pretty awesome. And then let's see here. So you got this.
Okay, I had to shoot my phone.
You got the Will Smith head here, and then of course you got his infamous assault rifle.
That's so cool.
It's got a removable mag too.
There's a little like rounds inside as well.
Oh yeah. You got all these mags and stuff are removable. The guns are removable. Everything.
I'm gonna do a thing on my Instagram that we're live.
All right. I'm going to finish cooking this up real quick.
Hey guys, we are live on YouTube right now. Collecting Weekly. Look us up. You're gonna see some figures. That dude looks cool. I never know what to say. It's always hard, like. when I do it.
It's always hard to improv, yeah.
And then so say you have something scripted that you need to get out. It's so difficult because like you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I got this upside down. There we go.
Boom. I did a little thing on the Instagram to shout out my stream.
Okay.
Oh, actually, both of these are going on the other side, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Do you have, Zach, an extra stand? Just because she stands pretty well, but on this phone thing, I don't want her to tip over.
She doesn't have stand?
No, she didn't come with one.
What?
Yeah.
Let's see. Put this in there.
Most of these customs, I don't know if they do come with stands.
Well, they're hit or miss. I mean, you've got I know my Judge Anderson, the Epoch Cop or whatever it's called, that came with a stand, and then but like my custom Yennefer, I don't think did.
Yeah, it just depends. You know what? I think off of the figure too, because like depending if they're on something, they'll make the stand. But I know for her, like, what would they make? Like house tiles? Like I don't know what they would possibly.
Yeah, I mean probably just a generic stand, like
Yeah.
Well, if you
And they're
want.
like $6, right? Because
Yeah,
I bought.
they're not that expensive. I ordered like 40. I mean, I ordered like a pack
Yeah,
of
I
like
know,
15
I
off of
understand.
Amazon for like $40.
Yeah.
What's that?
She's fine. If she falls over, I'll pick her up.
And if you need to, I can put one of my figures away, and you can borrow the stand.
No,
And
don't do that.
Ooh, the Deadshot looks sick.
just be careful with the head. So I haven't quite figured out exactly how the head is actually going down into the body.
Mhm.
So I haven't quite figured out how to get it in there without messing up the figure.
Just grab that shit super hard and push.
Yeah, I know. I'm just too nervous.
Dude, dibs if you sell this one.
Dibs if you sell. Alright.
Dope.
It is awesome. Here, you want to take a look?
I'll go over there.
So you got the pistols here come out. You got this pistol comes out. All the magazines come out. You got removable mag on the gun.
Accessory wise, man.
You got the little bullets in there. And then it comes with, I already put it up, but it comes with like a stop sign you can put down there, a backdrop like Deadpool and everything else. It looks.
It comes with the unmasked head, right?
Yeah, it does. It's in there.
Does it look like it?
Yeah, it actually is a pretty good likeness. I'm not gonna lie. I can take it out later if you want.
This guy's like my favorite part of Suicide Squad. God.
Yeah, I gotta get Harley now to go with.
She's pretty cheap, man. If you find you can find her on Pop Culture for like around 200, like low 200.
I may have to pick that one.
I kind of want one. I want one too. I don't know which one though. Like
I say if I have Deadshot, I gotta get Suicide version. I mean that's the only way. Suicide Squad version. Yeah.
I think I kind of like what Dean Knight did with it. Like he did like a custom of all of them and stuff. So I'm like, maybe I'll do that because there's certain heads that I like.
Yeah, I don't like the Head Sculpt Hot Toys came out where she's got that like laughing grin on her face.
Yeah,
It's just
the mouth is too big.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, and she's a pretty good price. So I'm like, kind of. She's like my favorite part of that movie. So.
Well, my favorite part about this Deadshot though, real quick, is one other thing I love about it is if you look carefully at the suit, it can go into like these crazy like dynamic poses without any problems. The suit's all fabric.
Oh, that's right.
And it's got like the knee pads and stuff here, so you can dynamically pose this thing really without a problem. It's just like I said, I haven't really done it yet.
I think that's one of the questions this week.
Dynamic poses?
Yeah. What's your
You
favorite
can just
figure?
pull up.
Alright. Yeah, I can hear his truck.
Actually, I can't find it here.
What?
The questions.
They're on the second page. They're on my page.
Oh, okay.
Question of the week for this week is the impact that collecting has had on your life.
Okay.
Maybe Zach, if you feel comfortable, not actually like talking about the specifics of kind of what happened to you, but maybe just like how after you got injured, like all your collecting buddies, kind of.
Well, yeah, I can talk about how like y'all pitched in and got me. That
Just
clump.
nothing too significant, but you know what I mean. Just so.
I'll talk about the impact it had on my collection and stuff, and I'll just say I won't.
Well, it's more like the impact that collecting had on your life rather than what the injury had on your collecting.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We had changed it.
Well, Manny had put a really good one up, but I wanted him to be here. This is 29?
29.
Yeah, we're already live, so.
Okay, cool. Nice, that's right.
I don't have to know.
Oh, wow, look at all this.
What's up, bitch?
What's up?
Hello,
This is
sister.
Justin.
How you?
I'm Jesse.
Oh,
You'll be next to.
I'll scoot down a little bit.
sorry, I was about to trip on the water.
No, it's all good. It almost got me when I came in too. That was stinging in your way.
Hey, YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
We got one person.
Oh, who's it?
Is it Mervin? Mervin,
Uh,
you're there. I talked to Elon. He said he could get you off early.
What does all of that mean?
Elon Musk.
Marvin the. Oh, it's Marvin the Martian.
You're what?
I didn't know what Marvin was. Who's Marvin?
Our number one
Oh.
fan this week.
Thanks, dude.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Dude.
Go over the show sheet.
Yes.
Familiarize yourself.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Make sure your phone's on mute.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good point with mine.
Was the live show's working?
Clearly. Oh, so with the sponsorship money, I upgraded our internet. I got us the.
What's up,
Tether.
Sean?
Nice.
So our live stream shouldn't drop out. 'Cause remember, like last week, we had trouble with it. I think it's because everyone's phone is connecting to my Wi-Fi, and it's like the more priority devices
Yes.
are canceling out, like this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
What's
put this
this?
up here.
What's up?
Tripod?
Oh, we had an idea for the webcam, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah, I'm gonna move my figures here more in the limelight.
Clear up some
What?
space.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
Mine's Vader. Oh, can you give me the collecting weekly thing? So my sister can see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that the 3D printed one?
Yeah, look how
I'll
awesome
put that
that
right
is.
there.
Check it out, D.
Check them out. Oh, this is the.
There we go.
Is this yours?
No, that's mine.
This is just a raw cast.
I'm gonna try to paint that one myself. Victoria painted this one.
It's a really good print.
Yeah, right?
True,
So
Captain
cute.
Marvel.
Okay, so
guys
check
don't-
this out. This head is a 3D print too.
Yeah, look.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Well, let's check it out. Do you know what kind of printer made these?
SLP.
It's like a $250,000.
Oh, okay, that explains.
Now
it.
he said that you could get away. There's one. It's the one that they use untested. That orange one. It's like 3,000. But
Is this the one that uses the electricity and resin to pull it up?
No.
It's not
I
one of those.
don't know.
It could
The
be.
laser and resin.
He said it was a liquid resin.
So
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it's that
Yeah,
one.
those
Yeah.
are expensive.
Because he did this one on his own printer, and then that one for sure the heads are.
Yeah, that
the
one he
liquid.
said like his company owns the printer
Oh,
and
gotcha.
they
Okay.
like allow him to rent it. I don't know if he has to pay, but
I was having to research some 3D printers for work as well, and I saw the resin ones, and I think they were a bit too complicated for us to use, but the commercial version of it that you can buy for your home is still like
Mhm.
7 to 10 grand, so.
yeah, we should talk about that. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it in the first segment.
I've been looking at the CR10 for the longest time because I do like prop making, and it's the perfect print
This is
bed.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah, look, let me show you his
I mean, the
basket.
detail.
Dude, show me.
And that's a mold. That's not even the original. So there's some detail that's lost.
Oh,
in,
okay,
like a
wow.
very small amount, but the one that's on mine is the original.
Very cool.
As you can
Let's
see,
check
his
that out.
Vader's
Yeah,
pretty
maybe
white.
don't take the head off though, because I don't
Oh,
want
no,
to
no,
rub it.
I won't touch it.
But yeah, my wife was painting it, and it. Oh my god, I'm so excited! I'm so happy to have it. It's. Oh my gosh, couldn't be happier. Do you want to monitor the audio?
That's the impact collecting this. I don't
This
know
is so funny.
It would be hilarious if
Yeah.
we monitor the audio.
Without-
You'd probably
without-
cut the voice down.
Without this,
What's
you
funny
wouldn't
about
have that.
is when you
Without
actually
me?
read, it's
Okay.
Sonic and Amy.
It can always be
These are
changed.
the one who like pointless.
No, I'll
rude
take that head.
thing.
No.
So it's like sweet.
What? Oh, cutie? From the cutie. Get it?
So
Did you
during
get it though?
the actual
You didn't tell
show.
me you
No,
got
I
it.
got it.
Okay.
During the actual show, we'll take a break and we'll listen to Manny's review. But I don't want to tease that Manny's review is coming until it looks like, oh, Manny can make it today. Because they're like a cool surprise. Because Manny put like a pretty cool intro. Like, it's like, oh, you guys thought I wouldn't be on the show. It's just like really cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
We'll do a few mic checks and we'll get started.
These figures are so cool.
Do me a favor. When I do the question of the week segment, I'm gonna talk about like what happened to me this week. If I start to get like super emotional, bail me out, okay, dude? I'm not gonna get like into it, but like it's still kind of new, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, like about how like you guys were there for me like that night.
Oh.
I don't know, just like bail me out if I need it. My dog died this week, so it's like,
Oh no.
I don't know how you want me to bail you out.
we'll just be like, oh yeah, we're texting him or something. I don't know. You
So-
usually save me when I get lost in a second.
Mandy would play the, I like the, what is it? I love the uneducated.
I love the poorly
Oh, no.
educated.
Yeah.
I need to, summon it, so it's something that I
How do you pronounce Deanie?
yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. I wasn't sure.
Is that what you want to go by?
Nighthawk.
Baker face. Or you could just go by D.
Yeah, Deanie's
Or
fine.
D2.
D2.
Are you younger than Deanie or older?
I'm older, yeah.
How
By
many
about
hours?
3 years?
3 or 4 now.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
I'm 33. Okay. I always forget how.
Well, you guys will
Oh,
start recording our
wonderful.
boring podcast here in a little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna mention it loosely.
Well, I'm really excited because
Yeah, so-
Do you listen to Play Doh?
I've listened to what, like 2 or 3 that you've sent me.
Tragedy. Get out of here.
Yeah, so I was really excited because I don't generally know a lot of people who collect statues.
Uh-huh.
We
And
don't either. That's why you're here.
yeah, so I was like, it would be cool to kind of like
Let me step out.
introduce that.
Talk about
Yeah,
it.
because I want to break into that, but
I'm a,
it's
Go ahead.
hard because those prices are crazy.
I'm
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
so-
gonna talk about that.
real
So,
quick
I
with
know.
my buddy.
I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I'm always eyeing like Prime One stuff and XM
Mhm.
stuff, and I'm always like, I can't do that.
The-
That's like 5 figures.
The statue I sent you with that girl sitting on the chair.
Yeah.
That's a prime one, right?
Yeah. I got that one. When was that? I got it in December. I finally had it shipped to me.
God dang.
And it was it's awesome. I mean, I've had some notes here about what the different materials different companies use to kind of like that affect the price.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for that
Yeah.
segment because like I've been wanting to break into that game and stop playing with dolls, but dolls is what I can afford.
No, these are cool. Like,
Yeah.
I wish sometimes that I had some figures like this
Yeah.
for the franchises I love. Like, I would love to have something like this Vader, but with like guts and griffins.
Right, that'd be
But they're
cool.
almost always
But,
massive statues that cost
The
$1,000.
3-0 makes guts and the skull right.
Yeah.
I said love you back.
First for Figures just unveiled a photograph of their
Ooh.
Skull
No.
Knight.
No. 3-0 makes guts.
No, I'm just
A
saying, like,
6-scale guts. So you could own one.
a 6-scale guts.
Yeah, look, I'll show you.
Oh, cool.
There you go.
Well, there you have it.
Hey, you guys. What is up?
How many people do you have watching?
We have 2 so far.
I told a couple of my buddies that we're going live here, so hopefully we'll get some more.
Yeah, we'll get a few.
Man, there's this. Oh shit, there's already a lot of comments.
Yeah, I've been going back.
Oh, hey Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Sean.
Wano's scrapyard.
Oh, nice.
Yes, he says 13 printers.
When's the release for that?
So, ow.
Dude, Sean, let me know if I can shoot you a print and see if you can give it a test print. I'm just
That's not too
curious.
bad. That's about how much these are, right?
So, the show sheet's pretty simple. We each have our own segments. Usually, like, whoever leads off in a segment, the person to the right will be the first one to talk about the segment. Or if you don't have anything, just you can just sit. I don't like people to say, like, oh, I don't have anything to say, but just, like, tap the person next to you, like, so they know. If you're too quiet, I'll do this. Or if you're too loud, I'll do this. Just because, like, we're recording into one track.
Oh,
So in post, it's kind of hard to, as if like we each had our own mic, it'd be easier because I could do it in post. I can make you louder or quieter.
Okay.
He usually does this to me.
yeah.
Well, I put you over there because the Vader is kind of somewhat blocking the mic, but you're pretty loud. So
Yeah, I got that booming voice. It's all good.
if you want to add anything, let me know now. Just because the show tends to flow a certain way, and then if you like at the last minute you have to add a bunch of stuff, it'll kind of like.
Oh, just showing her.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Can we move? I'm going to keep doing
yeah.
that. Oh, dude. You fucking guy.
We have 2 sponsor tags.
He said to send it to him.
Yeah, so we have 2 sponsor tags, and then we usually take a break. Why am I peeking so hard?
Cool. I might have to get that actually.
Next to the car scale.
Yeah, that's
Let me see.
I passed on that
So
one.
this is the 6 scale figure. That's the Prime 1 statue.
Oh, that's so cool.
That one was actually less expensive than the Griffith that I ordered, so.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. What?
Testing.
That's so weird.
Hey, Zach,
Yes.
before we go live, can I trouble you for a glass of water?
Ah, that is why. Yes, you can. Or no, you can't. I don't know. But wherever the yes, you can get water is.
Okay.
I was using the computer or audio, and I guess it was like peaking there. I'm like barely even talking.
Well, you're just fucking loud.
Is this blinking or is this solid?
It's solid.
There we go.
Oh, calm down there. All right, baby.
That's a really
It is, it was a huge upgrade for us, actually.
Yeah, we went from the computer to that, so
Well, the iPad, actually.
I think a pair of iPhone headphones would have been an upgrade.
Wow.
We could have used a Dixie cup and some string
Yeah.
connected to a cassette recorder, and it would have been an upgrade.
Appreciate you.
Language, it doesn't really matter. Nothing racist, homophobic, obviously.
No,
Yeah, just I don't know.
absolutely not.
The first episode, we didn't tell Jesse that. At the end, he's like, "So whose dick do I have to suck to come back?" And I'm like, "It wasn't racist or homophobic. It was like kind of graphic."
Yeah, I get you.
That's what keeps us born.
Yeah, we're a very boring podcast, actually. For those watching, we've had some drama today. We are a super boring podcast.
Yeah, officially,
Officially by the experts.
Hashtag boring CW.
America's
Most
most
boring
boring
podcast.
collective.
Manny, make us a t-shirt. Okay, Sean said to send the logo too. I don't know, Sean, I don't know if we have the logo because 10DMFG designed it, but I can ask him if we can get the file. Let's do a mic check. All right. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
My check.
Mic check.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Just
So-
feels fucking crispy.
Thank you.
Really? All right, let's see.
Extra
He's like, hold on, no,
Mic
let me
check.
switch that one. Sound back.
Mic check.
My check.
Mic check.
Hang on.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
My check.
You gotta bring it up a little bit, Tina, and then you a smidgen down.
Careful.
Let's try it one more time. Usually, also, we always fuck up the intro, like 100% of the time.
No. He fucks it up.
No. Sometimes Jesse forgets the name and stuff. But okay, so everything is unscripted, but the sponsor tags and roughly the intro. And so I might recut them if I screw it up because someone did pay for me to say them.
You have 2
But
pages or 1?
I have 2 pages, so I have the sponsor tag.
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be I don't think it's going to be like an hour and a half show today, based on like, because some of Manny's segments we had to cut.
Yeah, no, but she's got a bunch.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I brought,
Yeah,
so-
take as long as you need. Like, don't feel rushed, because really,
I think the longer the better. I think people really enjoy it.
no,
Drawn out.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, let's not feel bad if we only get an hour, because we cut out like 4 segments that Manny was going to do.
No, that's fair.
Let's do another mic check. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
My check.
Mic check.
Okay, you were intentionally loud.
Yeah.
on that one.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, we're good.
You gotta have fun.
Otherwise
Otherwise,
we're
it's too
boring.
boring.
Episode 29, the most boring podcast in the world.
I always feel self-conscious about speaking in front of a mic because most people will tell me, like, you need to, like, practically yell just so we can hear you, so.
Yeah, bring it up a little bit. I kept having to do this to a Don. Like a Don.
Oh yeah, Don, oh, he's too
Weird.
bashful. So
Such,
sweet.
such a handsome
Just
fellow.
the sweetest guy in the world.
Oh,
He's
right.
like an actual cinnamon roll. Too good for
All
us.
right, guys in the live chat, we're going to start the podcast. So we'll try to bring you guys in as we can. Keep commenting and, discussing whatever you guys want. But don't feel bad if we're ignoring you. We don't mean to.
Sexy.
Everyone's on mute, right?
Beautiful,
I'm
honestly.
powering myself down.
Yeah, you can keep it up if you want.
I honestly might have to order that, like, tomorrow.
Wait, what is it?
The Berserk 6 scale guts figure.
Do it.
If you've never seen Berserk, you're probably better off in the world.
I know.
All right.
It will fucking ruin
It'll break your heart.
soul.
Yeah, it's just soul crushing.
And
Oh my
there's
God,
nothing-
ladies and gentlemen, Mervin48 is on the live stream. I called
Yeah.
Tesla. I asked to speak to Elon himself. basically told him, look, Elon, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do. We are the most boring podcast in the world, and we demand that you let Mervin off of work on time. So, okay. All right, let's get started. So,
Quit making the
Dean,
flamethrowers and let's
Yeah.
get the show.
yeah, how boring company, and we are the boring podcast. That's pretty good, right? Okay, so let's, Dean, for the intro, I think I like the way we did with the Dawn. So Rainer will be the last one, and then after we do the intro before the plug, you can introduce Deanie.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Because then we're all gonna say our names. Don't say anything until I introduce you.
Just because at some point we're gonna have like a bunch of guests, and then it's gonna be like 15 minutes of like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Center my sheet. It's been a long week.
Yeah. Anyway, some cop called our podcast boring today.
Wow, that's.
And then insulted our intro when their intro is the exact same.
Did he ask you
Remember on the stream? Yeah. We'll
to
talk about it.
collab
Yeah, we'll talk about it off
Oh
stream.
my god.
after the fact?
No, before. Way before.
Oh, that just makes it even more sad.
It makes it even sweet.
God, dude.
All right, guys, ready?
I hope he's watching the stream.
Right. Fuck you.
Can I flip out this fucking camera?
Toy cut.
Yeah, toy cut. I don't
All right, you ready?
give a fuck.
Yeah. We need to have some funny moments because Manny's not here. We need to have some funny moments in his honor.
I could make some fart noises.
Okay. Are you ready?
She laughed.
3. Oh, we have 5 people on stream. Oh my god. I'm
Oh my
nervous.
god. Oh my
Nice.
god.
Okay, 3, 2. It took a really long time.
Well,
It threw me off. It threw me off. Okay, I'm sorry.
He does it all.
Breathing threw me off. You'd like to get an intentionally deep breath. Just
Yeah.
to fuck up my cadence. Alright, everyone get their coffee.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that out right now. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
I'm good.
That's why I give you the water.
Black lung. Alright, you ready? Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Dean.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Rainer.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. This is a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting. We're joined this week by someone very special to Dean, and I think it's only appropriate that you handle the introduction.
Yeah, it's actually my older sister, Deanie.
Hey everyone, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, so I'm Dean and she's Deanie, which was actually just a coincidence.
Deanie's your real name, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
why they call you Sydney. That's why I
Uh,
call you Sydney now, so I
yeah.
can purposefully do it and not
Yeah,
be
so
mad at me.
when my mom was growing up, there's a movie called Splendor in the Grass.
Mhm.
And the main character's name is Deanie, and my mom fell in love with that name. It was like, whenever I have a daughter, I'm going to name her Deanie. And then she met my dad, and his name's Dean, and he, of course, was like, yeah. And then they had me, and then, of course, I was named after my dad. So,
What a beautiful set of human beings we
Yeah.
have here.
thanks.
We wanted to thank our friends over at Jazz Ink Dioramas for their sponsorship of this week's podcast. They make the highest quality 1/6 and now 1/12 scale dioramas that your money can buy. They do tons of stuff. They have some shelf displays, wall units, vehicles, accessories. They do it all. You can find their in-stock and upcoming items on the web at jazzinkdioramas.com. So obviously we're on live stream. We've been doing it for a few weeks now, and we got a pretty nice little viewership. We got like 5 or 6 people tuned in right now. A lot of them are from our Facebook group, Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. You can join in. You can see behind the scenes footage, early teasers. You can chat with myself and the guys. It's a really fun little group that we're sort of starting up, and I think right now we're almost at 30 people, so it's growing week to week. We also put our TeePublic store back online, so if you want to get some Collecting Weekly swag like I have here, you can get that on TeePublic. They ship international, so for all of our viewers all over the world, all over the globe, you can get your Collecting Weekly swag. We're also doing a listener special. We're going to be filming that throughout the month, so if you want to join us for that, if you're a listener and you want to come on for a 10-minute interview, hit me up. Zach@collectingweekly.com is my email, and we'd love to have you. We're doing a live show this Sunday at Buddy's Toys and Collectibles in San Antonio. If you want to come on by, it's going to be at 1 p.m. We're going to kind of get together for an hour, chat, and then we'll start the recording. It's going to be really fun. And a few more things before we get into the real toy news. Lenny Hu He makes CCFL lightsabers. We did a really popular video on our channel showing like the functionality of them. They're incredibly good, way better than Hot Toys LED sabers.
Yeah.
He is officially open for business again. He had been catching up on a massive order for the last 2 or 3 months, so he's open for business now. Really great prices. And we also wanted to send our friend PJ a nice little care package. He was on our podcast, really great interview.
Yeah.
Gave what a lot of
Super
people
fun.
say to be the best episode they've heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Really,
wasn't on that one, so I don't know.
really good episode. So we wanted to send a nice little care package for being so generous at this time. So PJ, if you're listening, it'll go out to you tomorrow, and let me know when you get it. You and I, Dean, we have a little bit of a suspicion that we might have a very big listener that has to this point remained anonymous. You want to maybe tell us why you think this?
Yeah, so almost word for word review or description I was giving was also given on Robo Show, the Floosh, which, you know, it's just talking about toys, so the odds of him just saying the exact same thing are pretty high anyway.
So they're pretty high, but the thing is, when I interviewed Yost for Jazz Inc., the next day on his video, he's like, "Oh, I just found out about this company, Jazz Inc. dioramas." And Yost's company, there's pretty small circles that know about his company. It's obviously they ship all over the world, but he mostly advertises in 1/6 Go groups.
Yeah,
and I know
Robo does not collect
exactly.
1/6.
So I have to think that either one of his listeners was like heard our podcast, was like, "Hey, dude, like this is awesome. You need to check this out."
Yeah.
Or the man himself listens. So Robo, if you're listening, it's no shame. We all are huge fans. We listen
Yeah, dude, I love you, man.
Yeah,
You're
so
the best.
watch, he doesn't even listen. Fuck are these guys? Anyways, so Dean, go ahead and take us away with new this week.
New this week. What'd you get new this week? Probably the coolest thing I picked up this week was actually from Rainer over here was the Destiny shield from Todd McFarlane.
Oh, nice.
Just because
It's a 1-to-1, right?
Yeah, so I'm starting to collect 1-to-1 Destiny prop guns. and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, okay.
So that's gonna go perfect on my wall.
Yeah.
Because it's a round shield.
Is it plastic or is it?
I haven't
foam?
taken it out of the box, so I have no idea.
Oh, wow.
But it lights up, right?
I have no idea,
I'll
to
have
be
to
honest
look
with you. I
back
never
at this.
opened the box, so.
Yeah, so I think it'd be cool with like 2 like rifles like
Mhm.
under it, like a
That's
skull
cool.
crossbow. So that was pretty much my coolest pickup this week.
Yeah, I was planning on doing something similar with it on my wall, but I just don't have the room right now, so.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else get anything cool this week?
I actually got something that I had been waiting for a long time. And it's not that the process to get this from the person I ordered it from took a long time, but probably since I started making Vader custom stuff,
Yeah.
I've really wanted a good-looking Sebastian Shaw head.
Right.
And
yeah.
I started with the Kenner. It's like a 15-inch electronic Vader, a 14-inch electronic Vader,
Yeah.
and I rocked that one for a while. I gave it to
think it
you.
looks really good.
I gave it to you. I know I don't think it looks bad. I gave it to you, and I think you weren't using it. And
Yeah.
when I started looking for one again, you're like, "I'll just give it back to you."
Yeah.
And
I want it back.
well, I'd been searching, and probably like once a week I would just search like Sebastian Shaw head sculpt on eBay and on Google or whatever. And digging quite deep, I found a guy on the internet that is from the RPF who made a ZBrush file of Sebastian Shaw. And he made it in his thread, he says that like he got it to a point where he just didn't feel like messing with it anymore. Like he thought it was really good, but he said like maybe some people can take this to the next level. I'm moving, I got a new job, like I don't really have time to mess with this file anymore. So he put it on a website for free. Do whatever you want with it, print it, whatever. His one stipulation was don't make a profit. Like if you're gonna reproduce this, like, do it tastefully.
Right.
And so Jesse had been in contact with a 3D print guy, 10DMFG on Instagram. And he's the guy that actually made our logo, which if you're watching the live stream, the logo is right here. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey, I really don't know how any of this stuff works. This guy has a file And when I opened it up, it's just a bunch of code. I don't really know how to I don't know how to read it. Does this mean anything to you? Like, could you actually make something from this file? Open it up, said, yeah, I can print it 1:1, any scale that you want. Because the original ZBrush file was for I think it was for a 1:2 scale or 1 second.
Yeah, they usually make like
Oh,
a bus.
Or a half scale, that's the word, sorry. Where's Manny? And so he asked for some dimensions, and I kind of took a ruler to the sideshow collar and kind of gave him an idea of the size.
Yeah.
And he printed it out using a SLP style printer, which Deanie can tell us maybe a little bit about them here in a second. And I think he said the print took somewhere around like 56 hours for that print, and which is obviously like an incredible amount of time, because if it screwed up at the very last second, you'd have to start all over.
Right.
Now this printer is it's called an RS Pro 600, which is about track this up. It's called an RS. Let's get. Sorry, I think I have the space too far. When I change the tempo, the waveform takes a little more RAM.
Yeah.
So it is a RS Pro 600 printer, and that printer is the biggest model, which is what this was printed on, is $260,000 US new.
Jeez.
And obviously he doesn't own this printer. It's a printer that's rented from his work site.
Right.
And it looks incredible. And when he made it, he asked me would I like to have a mold made and copies in case I screwed up the product. He could just cast another one. And I said yes. And I was talking to him, and I asked him like, hey, like if I want a few more copies, kind of like what would that cost? And so with Matt's help, we're actually doing a very small group buy for these sculpts on Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. And because there's that don't profit thing attached to this file that we're using, we're only charging $10 for a head, which is basically the cost of the resin. And to make a cast, it's a somewhat active process where you have to mix the resin, you have to pour it, you have to make sure there's little to no air bubbles, and you have to take it out, clean it, and then clean the mold. So there is some amount of time that's done actively with that process. And, $10 is like,
Absolutely.
if you look at some of these bigger in custom guys who do their own head sculpts, the head sculpt will run you anywhere from $50 to $200 depending on the head sculpt, unpainted. So I feel like we're still in the spirit of not profiting. Obviously, like I paid the initial sculpt and the molding cost, which knowing how expensive this printer is to run for 60 hours was the guy didn't make a profit. We're not making a profit off of it. And we're allowing other people that like Vader as much as we do to have, maybe until Hot Toys makes their sculpt, the best 1/6 Vader head. And we're only doing 10. I'm not going to make any more than that unless it's for me personally, or, maybe if one of you guys that are on the show or gals wants one. But I think like that's appropriate. And some of the biggest Vader fans that I know, Hurricane reached out, he said he wanted one. Some other really great Vader customizers want one. And, I think it's really cool.
You have me on the list, right?
You're on the list, yeah.
Alright, cool.
So that group buy is closing on Friday, so 2 or 3 days from now. And once it's closed, we won't be opening it back up again. So
Nice.
hopefully everyone that buys it, honors the whole don't profit from it. So hopefully no one molds it and resells it. That would be kind of lame. But that's my new this week. I know Jesse obviously let's talk about the 3D printer technology for a second. Sorry, Jesse.
Mhm.
So you know about this type of printer. It's called an SLP. Tell us a little bit about it if you can, or maybe like.
Okay, so that's the resin printer, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
I think
so
it's like a laser resin.
yeah, they're really interesting how they work. It's a little different from your typical 3D printer that uses like those little spools of plastic in order
The
to
filament.
raise it layer by layer and print it like that.
Yeah.
The resin printers work the exact opposite way. So it starts with a pool of liquid resin,
Mhm.
and it uses a layer, or a laser rather, to create the layer. And it slowly pulls it out of the liquid. So it's actually pulling it up. There are some extra steps, like in terms of curing it, because you have to cure them with UV light. So some people actually
Yeah, that's
will,
what the guy was saying, because I wanted him to take videos of the process, and he's like, if I open the thing, it could screw up the
yeah,
plant.
there's all sorts of chemicals you don't want to be breathing in. I think you have to clean them off with some sort of acetone or something when you're done.
Yeah, I'm not really
Um,
sure what.
It's some sort of alcohol of some
Yeah,
kind. I don't
it
really
sounds
know.
bad, but I was drilling it to mount it,
You have to
and it
look-
smelled really good. I was like, maybe I should be wearing, maybe I should be wearing a mask, but it
Okay.
smells really good.
So with most 3D printed things like the gun that me and Jesse are working on,
You see the lines.
you see the lines. Now this,
There's
no lines?
There's like electricity that passes, right?
It's really precise. I mean,
yeah,
we're
I
talking
think
like,
before there was
Because there's like forehead wrinkles and stuff.
yeah,
it's insane. Like this.
you cannot be.
Maybe Jesse, can you grab
impressed.
some video of this for behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And then maybe of the actual one.
Yeah, because that's not even the master.
No.
Yeah, this is the master here. And obviously with the copies, so what I told the guys in the group is like, we're charging $10, so you're going to have to mount it, which means drilling out some of the material. You're gonna have to deal with some very small bubbles, which if you look at this one, Dean, like kind of here, you can see some very small little dimples.
Yeah.
And honestly, when it's in the collar, you'll never see that. So maybe you wouldn't need to worry about that. There's one tiny little line where the mold separates that you'll need to sand off with like 800 grit sandpaper, take like a minute. And I think it's a very fair price because even some of these big casters, when they sell you their head sculpts, there was one that I bought for $80. It was finished in the sense that like they had filled the holes and sanded the mold lines, but I still had to drill it to mount it myself.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I think for what we're charging and what people are going to get, I think it's going to be really
I'm super excited. I'm just give me that one. Like I don't even want to wait.
well. We'll talk about it.
Oh wait, I was gonna say also new this week before you were nice enough to pick me up those figures.
Oh yes, do not let me forget to give them to you. They're in the office.
Yeah, they're from the Star Wars
Resistance.
Resistance cartoon.
Yeah, so Monday I texted Dean and I said, hey, I think you were looking for these, and I got you the main male character, the red stormtrooper captain, and then the gold first order stormtrooper.
Yeah, and then the main girl. I don't know their name. I
Yeah.
literally don't know any of their names.
Yeah, they look cool. The designs look really good. And on the peg, they said they were $13, and they were only $8.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like a sale or like a clearance.
Yeah, I
but-
had a friend of mine was working on that show
Oh, really?
that I went to high school with, and
That's cool.
she
That's cool.
was super excited about it, and she posted a group, like a
Cast shot or whatever.
yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Get her to sign the box.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
pretty cool.
So I haven't seen the show. I have no idea if it's good or not. The ratings seem okay.
The designs look really cool.
And we've gone through this before, but like a lot of people are like, oh, it's too cartoony. It looks too childish. It's like, yeah, but so did Rebels.
And Rebels is fucking awesome.
Rebels got dork fast. So I'm like,
What's
not.
happening?
What do you mean?
They got dork fast?
No, dark. No,
Oh, I said dork fast. I was like,
I heard dork too. I'm gonna go to Zachary's defense on that.
we'll talk a little bit more about Rebels towards the end of the show. Zach is going to give us his state of Star Wars.
Okay,
But,
Jesse.
Jesse,
I really
take it away.
keep-
So I finally got my nun, and I ordered this this custom figure
yeah,
about here. I'm gonna pass it around.
it's gonna be all crazy.
Yeah, so I saw the movie The Conjuring and I loved her, and I saw this guy on Instagram making customs. I think he made 12. Mine was number 3 of 12, but it took like almost half a year to get her to me. So, but she comes with 2 head
Dude, the
sculpts,
tailoring is amazing.
2 head sculpts, the painting, and the painting comes on the little easel. What is it called? That easel? What is it called?
An
Easel?
easel.
Yeah,
An easel?
easel. I don't know.
What's
Um,
the easel called?
With the easel, yeah. What are they called?
I love it.
And so she's so much fun. I like her because I found the painting, like the 1/1 scale prop painting, but my fiance wouldn't let me have it at the house because she's like, don't bring that shit into
Dude,
our
for
house.
real.
Dude, fuck
I'm
that.
100%
So-
with her.
Yeah, so she was like, you can get the figure, just don't bring that into the house. But yeah, she thought the figure was super creepy. So do I. I love it. I love the creepy factor.
It's real creepy.
Hang on, just.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep just fucking up.
That's so weird.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she the
I don't want to really detailed.
where did I stop?
Just go back to the paint thing. I don't know why it keeps messing up. Usually, like at an hour and 5 minutes, take a break because it starts to mess up.
It's already. Is it plugged in? Laptop.
Does she stand on her own?
Oh, maybe that's why. Alright, just start back from the beginning, okay?
So my life, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to cut this whole part again. So my fiance wouldn't let me have the 1-to-1 scale painting in the house. She was like, "Nope, you're gonna bring demon shit into the house." I don't think so.
100%.
But
It's
she
like
let
Manny's house is haunted because he has all that horror stuff.
Yeah,
All
probably
the dice.
all these his dishes falling down.
Allegedly.
But she said, "Yeah, you can get the figure, no doubt." So I purchased the figure, finally got it in. I know QMX is making one, so I pre-ordered her too. So just I can compare. They both come with screaming faces and the painting and stuff. But here you go, live stream. You can check out the head scope. I like it for like $220 shipped. Not bad. I like it.
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I haven't seen the Nun, so I mean, I've seen like what is it, the first 2 Conjurings, and I guess I don't think she was an Annabelle creation. I've seen the first Annabelle creation.
There's like a hint.
But
Like
didn't,
in a photo,
didn't you say
but-
there was like some delay with this one that you had been on the list? or-
Yeah, so what happened was there's only 12 being made from this guy, and 1 through 5 got theirs like pretty fast. I thought I was number 3, and I waited almost half a year to get it. And she finally came, and she's missing her cross. It comes with her little cross, and I was like, messaged him, "Hey, dude, what the heck?" Because he took forever to send it out to me, and he was like, "Oh, it's in the mail." All that same bullshit that you get from people when you buy stuff from them.
Oh, I shipped it.
Yeah, I
Manny
shipped
knows.
it, and here's the tracking, but it's like a tracking for the different guy's figure, not mine. I was like, yeah, this is going to California. This is not mine. It was just a bunch of headaches.
So is he gonna replace, or I guess not replace, but supply the new?
Yeah, he will. He
Nice.
better.
Or are we gonna find?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
We have a return address. We'll find
We'll
it.
find him.
We'll find one like weekly. So new pre-orders this week.
Whoa, Zach's
whoa,
news.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well,
Oh,
you
Raider, sorry.
So I picked up from Zachary this week this Thanos.
His KO
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
the Mad Titan.
Yeah. I also, we'll cover this in pre-order in a minute, but I also picked up a Mexico Deadshot. Excuse me, not Mexico. Pardon me. What's the other one? Figma. Fig Arts.
Figuarts.
Yes, I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Oh,
Pardon me.
yeah.
But yeah, I picked up a Fig Arts Deadshot the other week as well. So.
And the Hot Toys did shot, which is right here.
Oh yeah, right here.
He looks.
He's had a busy week.
It's been an expensive week.
It has been an expensive week, yes, but yeah.
Those are
But
always the best.
The Deadshot, not to discount Thanos or the Gamora that you brought, but that Deadshot looks fucking awesome.
It
Oh my God,
is. That
looks
was
insane.
from a trip to Houston that I made last week.
Yeah,
So.
the tailoring is really nice.
What did you get them at retail or below
So-
retail?
I forget exactly what I paid for Deadshot. I think after tax it was about $2.35 or something like that.
Oh, that's a good price.
Nice.
Yeah, they have a local comic book chain there, Brick House Comics, Brick and Mortar, something brick, and there's a few of them around town. And what was hilarious about that story is, I went to the first place and they had a Deadshot for like $250, and I was like, yeah, I'll wait. And then I go to the second place and they have this one for $225, and I'm like, okay,
Dude, that's awesome.
done.
Dude, it looks really cool. I hated that movie, but I would still buy Deadshot because he stole every scene.
Will Smith, gotta
It
love him.
gives me hopes that maybe he can nail the genie, but I don't know. After the trailer this week, I'm just like, oh god.
And I also, on that trip, it's not here, I did pick up a Hot Toys Yoda as well.
Oh,
You
yeah.
Nice.
did actually, yeah. How do you like it?
I haven't had a chance to play around with it yet, to be honest with you.
You should.
If you don't like
add-
it, sell it to me.
Yeah.
My lady wants one.
You should
Okay.
add like pillow stuffing, the white pillow stuffing, to the hair with just a little bit of white glue. Because the Hot Toys hair, it was like really last minute, but they added it, and it's really terrible when it falls off. But it's also straight. It's not really like that curly.
You know,
I would recommend adding a little bit more fluff.
and the only other gripe I have, I know exactly what you're talking about, but the only real gripe I have with the figure is on its stand, there's no actual stand. So there's no way to prop him up, and he's kind of wobbly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
No, you're
'Cause even-
exactly right. Because that's why I got rid of mine because it kept falling when I would open my cabinet. My cabinet is pressure fit.
Yeah, because even like Rocket Raccoon has that little clamp. It's not like a crotch grabber, but at least it has a little clamp because
Yeah,
you know
because
he's
of small
raccoon,
figures.
he's top heavy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
figured they would have something like that for Yoda.
No,
They have-
I think there's like a little indentation for his feet, and that's it.
There is, and they have some levitating stuff that you can potentially like lean him on. Like he's supposed to be
Yeah.
like force moving
Oh,
stuff.
remember that picture I took at Alien Rose who had him on display and he just like
Yeah.
burst into a rock? I'll try and find the picture.
Yeah, post on Instagram. One thing Cindy and I like to do when we go to comic stores, we have this running joke. Maybe it should be a running joke for Collecting Weekly, but obviously Sideshow has their How to Be a Poser segment, which is like this guy that does really excellent posing.
Mhm.
And I don't mean to insult like people who work at comic book stores, but usually like they're getting so many figures, they don't have time to take 30 minutes to pose a figure like the best way. They're trying to get them on the shelves and get them off the shelves. And there's been my favorite one ever. There's that painting of God and I guess Adam where he's touching his finger, the creation or whatever. And there was a Superman from Man of Steel, and he's had his hand up like he was flying, and a spider had made a web connecting
Oh
the
god.
finger to the, I guess like the top of the cabinet, and it was like Spider-Man and Superman meet the creation. And so we have this thing. It's called Comic Book Store How to Be a Poser because there's some pretty bad stuff. There's one where there's a Batman. He was doing like this kind of pose. It's oh my god. It's
Yeah,
just
there's
the
a
worst.
notorious like comic book shops around here for posing their figures really bad and ruining the material.
Oh my
So,
god, yes, I
there's
know
a-
exactly what you're talking about. Like the Spider-Man stuff, they'll pose
Spider-Man.
them in like crazy dynamic poses, and it's like,
Mm.
well, that figure's pretty much gonna be ruined, like no
Big
matter
time.
what you do.
That was the nice thing about this shop that I went to in Houston is they had them all up on the wall in the boxes. So you had to ask somebody to get the wax down. You had to look at
Nice.
the figure and stuff like that. They weren't openly
They
displayed.
still have that brand new Hot Toy smell. You take them on, you're like,
Mm.
that's like my favorite stuff.
So let's talk about some new pre-orders. Sorry, Rainer, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, no worries.
But Dean, this might be really exciting for you. I know it's really exciting for me. But McFarlane has put up for pre-order their Drogon Deluxe.
Yes.
I am so
Okay, is it two
excited.
separate wings? Flying?
Yeah, they're articulated.
Okay.
I don't know how articulated they are because they kind of look to be at an angle. But I hope that they're independent where you can pose him with some variability. But I am really excited for this. I think they're like $28, and so I have him and Viserion. I think the wingspan is going to be like 13 inches, so fairly sizable.
Oh, okay.
The only other option for Drogon, there was a statue that they released, which I think is like a few $100s, and then the 1/6 scale statue, which is like, I think it's like $1,500.
$1,500.
So the slim pickings for Drogon stuff, so to be able to get him in your collection for less than $31 shipped from BBTS or wherever you go.
Where did you go?
I went to BBTS because I got Viserion, which is coming out in March, and then Drogon's coming out in June. Amazon has them as well, which I may pre-order them on Amazon because they're with Prime.
I was gonna say, was Kim able to get those?
He was, but I need to double check with him because I think he was saying we needed to get, like, we
Oh,
need to buy a
that's right,
case,
yeah.
remember?
A whole bunch.
So maybe we can see, but at any rate, I'm really excited because
Yeah.
those two are just amazing, and I hope they make the third dragon. The name's escaped me here for a second.
Oh, it's
His name is the brother.
Sarah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's really exciting for me personally. We also have Captain Marvel's gone up for pre-order. The regular figure is $243, and then they have a $266 deluxe option. I really hate both of those prices. They're really, really pushing it with like what you get for that amount.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to it, but like Hot Toys Jedi Luke is such a steal. And for me, I thought it was like a kind of a good step in the right direction for pricing. To get this figure, which, you know, may be a potentially more expensive license, I don't know. It just seems like a lot. I know the front of the crotch already is going to be a point of contention for some people because it's sewn so tight, and even at Secret Base, the stitching looked like it was already about to rip open.
Oh, dang.
Some people have said that was an issue with the Ant-Man figure as well, but I don't know. I know some people think like, oh, this is a great price, but I've been collecting
It's
for
because of
almost
people
3.
like that.
That
the price
exactly,
goes up.
exactly. Yeah, people that aren't willing to like call Hot Toys out on their pricing. And frankly, I don't know if this is 100% a Hot Toys issue because you can get this figure from I think it's like KG Hobby or other importing websites for a lot cheaper. And I think the markup from Sideshow on this one is almost $60. So I am not a fan of that.
The markup is. Me and my sister were talking about it the other day. The markup is so ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the statues, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that in a
Oh,
second,
yeah.
but it's
Yeah, I
like,
want to talk about that.
jeez Louise.
So also something that's really interesting to me is Iron Studios. They make a 1/10 scale line of collectibles for Jurassic Park. They've made
Oh, that's
different dinosaurs and then also different characters from the films like Ian Malcolm and Dr. Grant. And this week, Chronicle Collectibles, which distributes for Iron Studios in the United States, they showed off a $100 1/10 scale John Hammond. And I love John Hammond. Like, I adore that character. And there's really not anything out there for John Hammond. There's one pop.
Yeah, there's no.
And I think that might be it. There's never, that I know, there's never been like a 3 3/4 figure of him. And I'm really strongly considering it. It looks okay. I wouldn't say it looks amazing.
I would say for $100 you don't lose much, but they're not known for the best paint apps. Like Chronicle always under delivers.
Well, no, this isn't Chronicle. This is Iron Studios.
So okay, I was gonna say
Iron Studios is pretty okay.
okay because
Now,
Chronicle is always like they always like their prototypes are like amazing, but once you get like their finals, it's just the
I mean,
painting
you
is
have a
really
watch on there?
really
That's
hard.
Wait, point it out.
uncanny, yeah, it's uncanny.
The only thing that kind of scares me is it looks like the glasses, they put a kind of like a lens in there.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like it would be better without the lens. I think when you get down to that scale, you don't need a
Yeah.
lens to portray the
No, I
idea.
feel like that sometimes with even 6-scale figures.
Really?
Like with some like Iron Man's. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, some of them are supposed to be dark, but some of them aren't. Just where it's like real stylish.
Yeah, like clear lenses.
Yeah, and it's like, why even bother putting the lens on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm pretty tempted by this, to be completely honest. I have to really think about it. I need to look at when the pre-order closes, but I mean, for $100, it would look really nice next to my 135th Rexy from Reborn. And like I said, there's really nothing out there.
Did
For
you ever get that T-Rex model kit?
the 1/20th scale?
I don't remember.
Which one?
Maybe they came in pieces. And you had
Yeah, I have 2 of them, and I never built them. They're not. It's not that I don't want to build them, but to combine all these different pieces together and then to get rid of the seams and have it look like it just folds in the
That's
flesh.
part of the fun, man.
No, I tried it on 2 of them and it didn't work. I actually ordered 3 and I tried 2 and I was just gave up.
Jesus.
One day I want to find someone that will build it for me and I can paint it, but because it's huge, it's 1/20th scale, so it's pretty massive.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I've kind of it's a vinyl model kit and it's a really hard material to work with. It's not like resin where it's firm.
Yeah.
Anytime you heat it up, it becomes very malleable, and within seconds it firms up again. So like you're trying to fit inner jaw into a bottom jaw, an upper jaw into an upper jaw, put those together, and then also combine them to the structure of the neck, while also minimizing seams. It's like really, it really broke me as a modeler. I
Wow.
was really
Honestly,
annoyed with it.
this year was the first year that I got my first Gundam
Oh, nice.
kit, and
Oh, she went all out too.
I did. He told me which one
Was
to
it
get.
a master grade or like a high
Perfect
grade?
grade.
Perfect grade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bless the heart. That's not the one
Yeah.
to start with.
It was a Zeta Gundam, and it was a fun experience, but that took a while.
Yeah.
Those perfect grades. I think the last time I built one, just the leg took about 8 hours.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was
They're-
an adventure,
They're
but it's
really.
Rewarding afterwards. Like,
yeah,
you're like,
it's got light up sabers. It has
That's
the
dope.
plane that goes with it. Because in the show, he's not only has the Gundam, he's got this little. It's like a little ship that he
neato.
stands on and uses sort of like a surfboard of
That's
sorts.
cool.
But it was like 2 massive boxes, and then in those boxes, more boxes of just things to put together.
I don't want to get into it, but I kind of want to get into it because I like making
If
stuff.
I had more money, I would buy so many Gundams. But Before we move on from pre-orders, Sideshow shocked the hell out of me because it gave me an ad on my Facebook, and it was like pre-order now, Cloud Strife Play Art or Bring Arts, which is their new line.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, I buy everything Cloud, and it's Bring Arts, and it's Sideshow.
And you're not dealing with the aftermarket.
Yeah, and it's $89.99. That's retail,
Oh, wow.
and it comes out in September.
So you can you flex pay it?
Yeah, I can,
Oh,
but
nice.
I also have Sideshow rewards.
Oh, nice.
I have $20 in rewards plus another like 8 pending for when Obi-Wan comes out.
Uh-huh.
So in April, when I pay for Obi-Wan, I'll get those $8.
Well, just remember you have to wait 30 days after it ships.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then that's still, months ahead of September.
Uh-huh.
So I'll be able to get him for next to nothing.
Nothing. So did your figure ever come from the UAE? The
I'm still waiting for it. It's,
oh, okay, maybe in a few weeks.
it's-
we'll have
It's
it.
in customs.
yeah, it said
It's this
it
one, right?
left there on the 5th. Yes, that
Oh,
one.
dude, that was fucking
The
awesome.
Kingdom Hearts Cloud.
I don't think there's a single Cloud figure he does not own.
Yeah, in fact, I
He has
bought.
a shelf of Clouds.
This is also new this week. I ordered it on eBay. I'm just waiting for it to get here.
Oh.
Coca-Cola Clouds. This came out a long time
Yeah, show it to
ago.
live stream.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Mm.
Well,
Yes.
I know you're excited about that. You're a big,
I
massive
love-
Cloud fan.
Dude, I love Cloud. Oh, and then my pre-order is coming. Kim said by the 27th, I'll have my Play Arts Kai Cloud and
With the
Fenrir.
motorcycle.
With the motorcycle.
I guess Fenrir is a motorcycle. Right?
Fenrir is a
Oh,
motorcycle.
okay. I don't play the
And it,
thing. I feel like I just got judged right there. You were like, you
it
just
opens
had
up
me.
and you can put all his swords in there.
Ooh, nice.
Because this is from the movie. It's not in the game. He doesn't have it in the game.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's probably like 15 inches long. I think the motorcycle.
Nice.
It has lights. But a buddy of mine was like, "Dude, make sure you check the lights when you get it, because some people are getting them and they're not working." So
Oh, no.
I'm gonna be super bummed if I have to send it back. But I think he's getting more than one.
So potentially he could deal with it
yeah.
after the fact. Not bad. There was also someone that discovered this new line from Black Series called Hyper Real.
Hyper real.
$80. I think they said the first figure is going to be a Darth Vader, which
Yeah.
has me at a full chub. I am really excited
Dude,
about
my
that.
sister's here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it's 12-inch scale, like 1/6 scale.
I heard it's 10.
I knew you said it was 10-inch scale, but I'm just hoping, like, I just need more parts, because looking at some, like, I mean, you'd be surprised, like,
Especially because they
they have a good
knocked the
Vader.
New Hope out.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Apart.
hoping. I'm praying, like, please just give
But
me something.
even
more.
at 10-inch scale, you could almost use like maybe like a chest box or something. Like it would be such a small
Potentially.
smaller. I bet you could technically swap, because your Vader heads are some are from 15-inch figures, some are from
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
11.5-inch figures. So
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I got this head in, Manny had mentioned that, hey, it looks really small. And initially I was like, shit, he's right. Like, this does look really small. And I mentioned it on our YouTube channel. I put up a video comparing the different heads.
yeah,
My frame of reference for Vader was always the 15-inch
The
head,
oversized.
which is massive.
yeah.
And when I took this head and compared it to Anakin and DX07 Luke and other 6-scale heads, it's like spot on. And when I did a proportion check, there's specific proportions, like for art, like a person should be X number of heads tall, or from the head to their belly button should be, and there's obviously like heroic proportions, which are a little bit more exaggerated. This one lined up pretty much with everything.
Yeah.
And the issue is that the sideshow collar is just a smidge too large, because it's for like a 14-inch Vader.
Yeah, the best one.
Well, so new releases, NECA came in hot with potentially what could be a front runner for some of the best 6-inch scale figures ever made. The NECA Ninja Turtles. Initially, they were, I think, an SDCC exclusive, and then they repackaged them for GameStop.
Mhm.
Don't pay the scalpers, because this is a figure that NECA's already said is going to be plentiful. Right now, the only figures that are in distribution are the pre-order quantities. So if you're needing this figure, don't pay the scalpers.
I
Just wait.
cannot wait to get a set. Honestly, that'll be my first NECA purchase.
They look insane.
I probably want to get a Leo.
Because
I Yeah.
I mean, I have crates and crates and crates of Ninja Turtle figures. Growing up, that was like the first thing I ever collected.
That was one of my first toys was Ninja
And
Turtles.
I love the Ninja Turtles. I always have. And those movies, even the
Ninja,
third
go
one, were
Ninja,
just
go.
trash. Like, they have like a special place
Yeah,
in my heart.
totally.
And when they came out quarter scale, I was like, that's cool, but they're too big.
So I want to talk about that, the quarter scale thing. We'll talk about that after this segment
Okay.
because I'm tempted by a quarter scale.
Oh, no. Okay, so,
But there's figures that we should talk about before we get there.
yeah, and again, the quarter scale one's cool, too big. There's 4 of them, so it's just like,
It's a lot of money. I
Already-
mean, that's like 400 plus.
yeah. And then they came out with the 6-inch versions, but it was a con exclusive. I
And
was
those
like,
were even when they first came out, they were more expensive to buy those secondary than it was to buy 4 of the bigger ones, the quarter scale.
yeah,
ones.
because the scalper, or not, I don't want to say scalper, but it was like they paid to go to the con, they stood in line, like they're getting their money back. You
But
know,
to do that, they have to charge a premium and make profit on
Right.
it. Yeah,
because
it's kind of a hard.
they had to buy a hotel.
Yeah, it's hard to
Rent a
call someone
car.
that goes to a con a scalper, but
Yeah, exactly.
then you have these people. There's a lot of people that do this where they go there and they just buy literally like trailer loads of
Right.
these exclusives. And I think at that point, like if you're going like, okay, I'm gonna pick up like one Ninja Turtle, like kind of one of everything that I can get. I don't think you're a scalper, but if you're going there and you're coming in with a pre-order list and you're asking people to come like, hey, it's one per person. Can you buy me another set? I'll pay you, let's say, $120. You make $20, then I'm gonna sell it for 300. Like, and you're doing it very systematically. I feel like that then you become a bad person, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
I know there's a group of people in the stash bin.
I know, yeah, that's kind of what I'm.
But they also get orders from people. Like, hey, you're going to the con, I want this.
Yeah, I still don't like it though.
No.
I don't like it. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, if
Oh.
you're going there with a list and saying like, hey, I need to get 6 of these, and I feel like you're because not only are you scalping, but you're also taking away. That's if you're getting
another
there's potentially 5 people that if you're getting 6 that might not be able to get this at the con. Because at the con, it's not like
everybody gets one.
exactly. There's people that go to the con and they spend just as much money to be there. Perhaps they didn't get in line early enough, or maybe they thought midday, oh, I'd like to try to get this. But I don't like it. I know what you're talking about. I don't like it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't get the turtles then either because I was like, forget it. And then there's also a lot of turtles on the market because there's 2 sets of NECA turtles. There's the movie ones and then the cartoon ones.
Mhm.
Then Figuarts has their line of turtles. And I was like, well, there's plenty of turtles out there that I can make up my mind eventually. But I don't know, the movie ones are so iconic that like I really want to set on my shelf. So I'm excited for them to be stocked. People are already selling them for like $230. I'm like,
Yeah.
they'll be out in a few weeks. Just wait.
Yeah, it's I'm considering, but my space is so limited. I don't know. Doctor Strange is also shipping from Sideshow. Zach
Ooh, that's
Rayner got the. I think you got an email notification. It was charging on Thursday.
Yeah, it was pending. It was pending on Thursday. It actually just shipped today,
Oh
Very
shit.
cool.
so it'll come out. It'll come when it gets here. So
Nice.
I can't wait because I have that pre-order, but I'm not finished paying it. But that's cool. That's coming out already.
Yeah.
Did they let you do that?
Huh.
Keep paying it after it comes out?
Mm-hmm. If you postpone or if you
There's been times where I've had a flex pay, and a figure comes out like 8 months early, and it's out, and I haven't even started paying on it yet.
yeah, so that's what happened to me right now because
Like
they're
when
pushing.
Anakin, I think it was Anakin, came out. I only made 1 payment, and I still had like 7 left. So I was on like the $30 option or
Yeah.
40, whatever it is. Yeah, I've had that a few times. Toys Dow finally
Dude, that's the Japanese Vader, right?
the Samurai 1/6 scale
Holy
Vader.
shit.
I've legit lost like 6 family members like passing away between the time this figure was freaking announced to the time it's released. And the worst part is it was released the week of Chinese New Year, so I won't see this figure for like a month.
Yeah.
Shipping. And the worst part is I haven't paid any money on this figure, so as soon as it drops, I owe like whatever it costs. I have no idea what it costs. This
Oh,
was
so
a
you still have it on order.
I have it on
I
order.
thought you've abandoned it a long time ago.
Okay, so the rule with TNS is if you commit to
Oh,
something,
that's
you
right.
can't cancel it. You can, but you're kicked out of the group and they cancel all your other orders. I have so many orders with them, it's not even worth it.
Oh,
But I'm excited. I really want a samurai in my collection after seeing the, you remind me the Tom Cruise movie where he's a
The Last
samurai. The Last Samurai. Yeah, I don't know. After seeing how nice that figure looks, I really want a samurai, and I love Tom Cruise in that film, but I think having a Vader samurai would be a little bit more appropriate for my collection.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm very excited for it. It looks okay, pre-order pictures may be a little bit better than what the final product is,
Yeah.
but futzing I think could be a big part of it. So I'm pretty excited for that. But the big one that was released this week, the Mad Titan himself.
Yeah.
Perhaps we're gonna talk about it today, obviously, but I think when Manny comes back, I want to talk with Manny a little bit more because he actually has skin in the game on this one. He has a pre-order.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it?
I want one so bad, dude.
I'm kind of got my Thanos feel for right now.
Justin?
My wife wants one. I don't know if I want one.
I love the way this figure looks, but the arms look so bad when you bend them. And I know obviously they give you the pre-articulated arm, but it almost kind of boggles my mind because when I see them articulated, it looks hollow, like there's like literally nothing in there. And I've owned 3 Phison bodies, and when you articulate them, like you're articulating what seems to be like a solid mass.
Right.
So everything looks fairly
Relatively.
like anatomically correct when you articulate it.
Right.
And we were checking out, I think it was Justin Collectibles review, or maybe it was Sideshow's official review. But when they articulated it, it just looks like a deflated
Like
balloon.
flattening.
Yeah, it looks really bad. So in my opinion, what they should have done is given you a pre-articulated arm for both arms. That way you would never have to really articulate it and then make the unarticulated arm just a statue because it looks really bad.
Another great one is like you can't do the famous scene where he snaps his fingers. Like you can articulate the fingers just a bit,
Oh, but it's not able
but
to.
it's not
Oh,
able
man.
to do the snap. So it's like that big scene from the movie. You can't even do it.
Okay, so Zach, have you seen the picture of that Thanos next to the new Thanos?
That Thanos is like 30%. The Infinity War is about 30% larger than.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost
The Guardians
twice the size.
It's huge.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's one of the other reasons why I didn't get it, or I'm still on the fence because it's like so massive. Like where am I gonna put it? You have to customize your detail to fit it in.
Which I think you said you wanted to shoot a video on when Manny.
Where Manny gets his-
preparation of
Oh yeah,
his.
for sure. We're gonna
So,
be shooting that video for the YouTube
So I
channel.
could technically still pre-order Thanos and then pay on it.
As you get closer to the release, the payment plans get shorter.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's true.
So if you commit to a plan and the figure's released earlier, you're not penalized to pay quicker. You obviously can,
And that's what's
which is what
happening.
Manny's going to do. But as you get closer, I think maybe it's only like a 2-month pre-order now instead of like a 5-month pre-order. It looks really, really solid though. I know we mentioned Justin's Collectibles. They also run a podcast, the Minted Seal Box podcast, him
Yeah.
and Zachary. And
Shout out Zach.
yeah, Zach's been showing my Instagram a ton of love. I feel really bad because I've been going through like a lot this week, so I haven't really been paying attention to my Instagram.
No one shows me any love ever.
Ooh.
Not even me.
Oh,
No,
I'll show you
They're
some
my
love.
favorites.
The world's smallest
You
island.
have to.
I will.
I know.
So I mentioned I was tempted by a quarter scale. I've been bitten by the bat bug. I need a Batman Begins Hot Toys in my collection. And
Why?
I saw the movie and I was like, oh, I've seen it, but I saw it again for the first time in a while. I was like, man, this movie's fucking awesome.
I'm tuning out right now.
So I either want that one or the Armory version, and they're obviously 2 completely different looks. I was talking to PJ about it this week, and he's telling me I should
Dude,
lean
BJ was
towards
sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Displays with him. I don't even like.
exactly,
I don't even like Christian Bale's Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy. Not a fan.
exactly. But
And
his,
even I'm like, damn, that's pretty.
Dude, I
that's
was talking
exactly
about- for
where
a
I'm
while,
at
talking
right
about
now. I don't
closing.
even care about them, but after interviewing, I was like, oh, let me go do a deep dive on his Instagram. I'm like, fuck, I need a Bale. Like, just seeing his stuff, it just looks so good. And
I'm-
E Ferrigno, the guy that makes, or El Ferrigno, the guy that makes this Vader cape,
Yeah.
also makes a DX12 and a Batman Begins cape.
Nice.
And now I said obviously I'm interested in the 6 scale, but NECA makes a $100 quarter scale, And Dean Knight on YouTube, I think it's like Dean Knight 333.
Mhm.
He compared the NECA quarter scale to the
Hot Toys one.
no, it was Hot Toys, but then there was also the Interbay quarter
Oh,
scale.
that's right.
And his Ultimate Batman is mostly the NECA figure with like the Hot Toys cowl and I think the Interbay belt. But he was saying like on its own, like figure to figure to figure, that he liked the NECA one the best.
Wow.
It looks amazing. So I'm really tempted, but I feel like if I get into quarter scale, that is a very, very slippery slope. If I get into quarter scale.
It's gonna suck because you're gonna.
But the second it hit midnight, either that figure sold out or they took it down from the website. I was refreshing, and then it, I don't know if they were taking it down because they don't want to lose that much money on it, but it looks really cool.
Why are you waiting till midnight?
Because the coupon code went active.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna get it. The reason why I was thinking of getting it back then was because I wanted to cut off the head of the Endo and put it in a Vader suit and then do like a battle damage like with the robotic arms.
Dude, yeah, me too.
I thought it would look really cool, but I never really got around to doing it. So those are the teeth there. So I don't know. That's just something that was tempting me. Maybe Manny. I know he's been trying to track down a T800.
So him
Yeah,
and I found some. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I've been eyeballing one from Prime One Studio actually.
Hey,
1/3 scale T800.
Do
if
it.
you get that, I need to go check that out. That looks beautiful.
And they're making a 1/1 scale skull, like the
Oh,
metal
nice.
skull. So
I might pick something up like that.
yeah,
I've always wanted
I
a
love-
1-to-1 scale arm.
Dude,
the
right?
arm probably from the movie.
Who? There's someone makes
I
one.
know. I've
I don't know
always
who makes
wanted
one, but yeah, dude, I love Terminator. T2 is like my jam. So
Yeah.
T2 is the rare. I can't think of
A sequel that's better than the original.
except for that one.
yeah,
Terminator 2 is just
Empire
so
Strikes
much
Back?
better. Ooh.
Come on, gotta give it to me, bro. Gotta give it to me.
Empire is my favorite. So I don't know.
Empire is
sequels-
definitely my favorite, but also you can't argue with how great A New Hope is. And
It's tricky,
you-
but then again, Terminator 1 is so good though. But
Terminator-
Terminator 2 is just better.
I was so terrified of the Terminator when I saw the T1 movie as a kid that I almost didn't even want to watch T2 because I was like, that
See,
thing was terrifying.
Same
Yeah,
face,
okay.
but with the T1000.
Yeah, and he was even more
He
terrifying.
was chasing
So,
that car.
I watched T2 first.
Uh-huh.
So when they were like, "Oh, there's Terminator
Shit,
1," I was like, "All right," and I go back and watch it, and I'm like, "I don't like this."
It
You know, as a little
really
kid,
scary.
it's really.
I remember
fun.
the first time
When
that I
he's
saw
crawling after them.
Terminator was my parents had this van, and it was like one of those vans that has like the VCR and the little television.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And we were going on a road trip, and we were like, I was like 7, or maybe 8, which means my brothers were like 6 and 4. And my dad was like, "Oh yeah, you guys gotta check these movies out." And we started with T1, and we were like sitting in the car like, "What the fuck?" Scared the shit out of us.
Yeah, it scared me as a kid.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
just terrified of
yeah.
that
Especially
Terminator.
when he's crawling after them.
Oh yeah, at the end.
Oh,
the bride,
okay.
and she like smashes him. I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh my god.
So yeah, me and Manny have
Spoiler
a
alert.
lead on T1 and T2 because I want the T2. So we're gonna see if we can.
Oh,
Get
thanks for
our
the
funds.
invite. That's cool.
Oh, well, I've been searching it too.
Coming next week, the Jesse and Manny show.
There you go.
And it will be boring.
Well, we're actually with our show. I know Mervin is in the chat. So Mervin, obviously, we talked to Elon today about getting you off work early to be able to join us for our live show. But it's pretty relevant. Obviously, Elon owns the Boring Company, and our show officially has the title of
Boring.
the most boring podcast. So that's really exciting.
One of America's most boringest podcasts.
Yeah. So
Hashtag.
I guess you know that we've made it
Hashtag.
when we have our haters, and
Yeah.
it's funny. But,
because they hate us.
because they ain't.
So let's take a short break. We have a very special segment that we're going to play during the break. But before we do, we're also going to get into Deanie's statue collecting.
Dude,
And,
yes.
we wanted to take this time to thank our friends, Jazz Ink Dioramas. It's run by Yost and his father Hans. They obviously sponsored us for the entire month of February, so they're very generous to sponsor us. They've just gotten into 1/12 scale dioramas with the 9-inch long and 12-inch long 10-4 dioramas. It's the perfect diorama for your Black Series or Bandai model kit 6-inch figures. They also have pre-orders for the 1/6 scale X-34 Luke's Landspeeder from Star Wars: A New Hope. They also have on their website the Death Star window dioramas in Deluxe, which is their DTOF scale, True Scale, which is the Besta, and the Ultimate Scale versions on their site. Those are amazing. They have the Death Star animation from when it blows up Alderaan, and then of course during the end of the film. You can find them on the web at jazzinkdioramas.com for these and other great dioramas. And remember, they ship internationally, so anywhere in the world, if you need some of their beautiful dioramas in your life, you can order them and it'll be shipped to your door. And on the YouTube channel, they have tons of videos where they show you how to install everything, how to set it up. And they have excellent customer service. So definitely check them out. And we want to thank them for sponsoring us. It keeps the podcast free for you guys and helps us improve our technologies. We're actually able to upgrade our internet at the house to with this little fancy gizmo that makes live streaming a little bit easier. So if the live stream looks a little crisper, thanks Jazz Ink Dioramas, let them know. So we'll go on break. We'll come back and we'll talk about statues. Okay, so during the break, we're gonna play Manny segments. We have to listen to his review real quick. And then go to...
It's like, hi, my name's me.
My name is Manuel.
I like you.
I don't think he said that. All right, so here it is.
Yeah.
Did you really think you'd go one full episode without hearing my voice? Nah, not on my watch. What up, guys? Manny here with the Rate the Flick segment.
Also, I love how in this interview, he spends like 30 seconds plugging his Instagram before he gets to the interview. It's funny, anytime we have to shout out, he's always like, yo, shout out to those that follow RATE. He always plugs all his shit. I love it.
Remember, follow me on Instagram. It's at RATEFLIX. I'm here to talk to you about the Lego Movie 2, the second part. It's fantastic. It's everything you want in a sequel. Obviously, it's not better than the first one, but yeah, it's really good.
Oh, you seen it?
I've
What's
seen
my
it.
score?
The second one?
I haven't even posted it on my
I'll see
page, so I'm
some.
going to tell you guys first. It's officially an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Again, it doesn't beat the original, but it's really good. It's really funny. I found
Oh,
myself laughing like an
T2
idiot,
blows
looking to my
the
left and to my right, and nobody's laughing, and I'm like, did you guys not get that joke? Because, oh, actually, my fiance is looking at me right now, and yes, we were all laughing. I said yes, like Mike Scott. Yeah, guys, I highly recommend that film. Go watch it. It's definitely fun.
If he ends it with I
Now,
love
I
it
don't know
before
if
the
it was
other
just a theater that I was in.
I bet he does.
The sound just wasn't loud. Like, it wasn't high, if that makes any sense. It was, I guess it's aimed for kids. No, it is. It's made for kids.
It's funny to listen to him ramble.
I was rambling. What is?
It kind of took it away from the actual experience, but it was still a great film.
He's like, the drive over there wasn't so bad.
Yes, if you haven't guessed
See,
already,
the person behind the camera.
Oh, man.
if you haven't guessed already,
All right, let's get back into it. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Oh, what a fantastic
That was
movie by
awesome.
Manny.
It was funny.
Oh man,
I saw that coming 100 miles away and
So
still.
predictable, but yeah, it was good.
oh god. Deanie, let's hear about statue collecting. I know having Jesse on the podcast was a big thing because we had never had DC, and so now we're able to bring in a statue collector. So tell us what you got.
Well, first of all, in this sort of industry, there's no collecting weekly. It's more like collecting quarterly. So I don't really have anything to share. Like, this is what I got this week, because sometimes I'm waiting 2 years for a statue. But
True.
True. Now, I did bring some notes regarding like 2 different companies that offer really great statues, and they sort of have different target audiences, you know, within the market. So the first one, I guess, that I'd like to kind of introduce everyone to, one of my personal favorites is First 4 Figures. They have, most of their licenses are going to be video game based. Tons of Nintendo stuff, Metroid, Zelda.
Nice.
I like
Yeah, we got Spyro.
In fact, they did those ones they have at GameStop, right? Of like Link and.
Yeah,
Ganon.
exactly.
Oh,
Those
okay.
PVC statues.
If you've seen those PVC statues of Link, from
Breath of the
Skyward
Wild.
Sword. Oh, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Before
It's first four figures.
anyone gets any ideas, we're trademarking collecting quarterly, so no one. I'm sorry.
And then you have, they just announced up for pre-order is the Conquer from Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, that was so
Amazing.
cool.
He's sitting on his
It's a
throne.
fox, right?
No,
with
it's a
his-
squirrel.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, his glass of milk on the throne. He's all angry.
He's all angry.
Perfect. It's just like the
Love
intro to the game. I was really super excited about that.
They were doing a giveaway for that statue too. Totally.
Yeah,
free.
Oh, wow.
in fact, every statue they announce, they do a free giveaway
Ooh.
for said statue. I was super excited. I've been collecting from them since about 2008, primarily Sonic the Hedgehog statues.
I saw those.
Yeah, I've got, I think now 17 of them. I have tons of Sonic statues. I absolutely love them. They're all resin-based statues. Generally, you have your standard edition and exclusive one, which typically doesn't generally cost any more. It just depends on
How fast
how fast you can pre-order it.
Yeah, I've noticed that with statues, where it's like there's always going to be like an exclusive, like you get the extra weapon or
Yeah,
hand.
some of the statues I've collected, like my most recent one I got about, I think, a couple months ago was my 25th anniversary Sonic the Hedgehog statue. This thing is awesome. It's a classic Sonic running through Green Hill Zone. And the exclusive version has LEDs that run through his feet,
Damn.
which is amazing, and the little spinning sign.
Oh,
It
that's
spins.
neat.
It's amazing. I think it was about $350.
Yeah, it's really weird because they're like resin statues, but some of the parts are like translucent,
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but they're like colored. So one, the LED doesn't break through. You know, sometimes you can see like individual LEDs.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
like-
Phoenix statue by XM where it's like clear resin,
It's
different
super
colors.
cool, man.
Absolutely. First
Yeah.
Four Figures has never disappointed me on a statue. Customer service wise, an amazing company. But
Oh, that's true. She's had to destroy a couple statues.
yeah, that's how it works. So if you get a
Yeah, that's how
statue,
Sideshow is.
yeah, if you get a statue that's broken,
Mhm.
you have to destroy it and provide like video
Photos.
evidence of you smashing it before they'll send you a replacement. But
Yeah.
they've never kept me hanging in terms like I'll smash it and I'll have the replacement in a week.
Mhm.
Shipping with that company is actually really inexpensive because they have within the United States a warehouse. So shipping at most, I don't think I've ever paid more than $45.
And that's crazy in the statue world.
It is absolutely insane. They are a great company. As far as their license is really strictly towards mostly gamers and anime. They just recently announced their license for Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, is there one that did that cool
Alphonse Elric, he is
Oh,
massive. He's probably about 23, 24 inches tall. Absolute beast
Isn't
of
there
a
like
statue.
6 different versions of it?
Yes, there's, oh man. Okay, so when it comes to their statues, you've got your general standard edition and then you have your exclusive, but sometimes they take it a step further. Well, they'll be like, for Alphonse, they had his classic kind of blue armor,
Mhm.
kind of to make it look more like the anime, and then they made a metallic version. So you can choose between like an exclusive metallic or the exclusive anime paint, that sort of thing.
You see that with the Spider-Man where he's like leaping off the building. There's like 4 different paints of him.
Yeah,
You see him in comic book shops a lot. There's
Yeah.
like 4 different variants. So that's
absolutely. And the nice thing about First Four Figures is that they announce their variants up front. They don't come back later and surprise you with some, and then the value of yours drops. Like,
Yeah, so
Oh, that
there's
was
this
blue.
thing with Hot Toys where they'll announce like, it's happened several times that I've been collecting. Anakin, they announced Anakin, and then a few months later, oh, we're gonna do a dark side with a diorama that's just a little bit more. Luke just gave you like a basic figure, and then a few months later, like, oh, we're doing an Endor and with 2 head sculpts. Batman armored, they're like, oh, here's Batman armored. A few months later, oh, here's a battle damage Batman with the spear, and then also a black chrome version.
have
It
my
happens
money
all
down.
the time.
Hella's
I-
gonna come out battle
I
damage with that hair
hate
down.
it so much. It is the worst.
that has never happened, thank God, with the First Four Figures.
Oh, don't they also do matching editions?
What do you mean?
The edition number when you pre-order.
Okay, so they used to do that where. Okay,
Oh,
so
they don't do it anymore.
no,
This
they
is really
changed-
cool.
Yeah, okay, so when I first started collecting the statues, essentially how it worked was they'd be like, okay, here's this statue of Shadow the Hedgehog. We're only gonna make 500 of these, exclusive version. Pre-order it. So you would pre-order it. Now, if you had a Sonic figure from the previous release, you can get the matching number with an authentication card.
That's
All
so
you had to
cool.
do was register it. And then when
That's
you
fucking
shipped it,
awesome.
I have like 6 statues that are all like the same number. I think 76, something like that.
Damn.
All of
That's
them.
low. That's a good number.
Now I think I kind of like their new method of, I guess, pre-ordering. What they'll do is they don't have a set number of statues that they're going to make. What they do essentially is, here's this statue. This day we're going to
cut the
open
pre-order.
pre-orders, and we're going to keep it open for 2 weeks or until 1,000 people pre-order it, whichever comes first. So a lot of people have 2 weeks to kind of like chew on it and, hey, you know what? I love this statue. I think I'll go ahead and,
I like that method better because you don't overflow the market with all these statues, and then the price stays pretty high because there's not like 5,000 people with statues. There's only 1,000, so it keeps that price pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely. I was so excited because I've been a huge fan of theirs, like I said, since 2008. And they recently nabbed the license for Kentaro Miura's Berserk,
Ooh.
which is my favorite manga of all time, favorite anime of all time.
If you
Basically,
haven't,
favorite anything.
if you haven't seen it and want to, it's on Netflix, right?
Absolutely. The movies are. It's a short version.
The two movies are part 1 and part 2.
Mhm.
They're what, like 2 hours each?
It's actually 3 movies. They're about an hour and a half.
Oh, it's 3 movies. Okay.
Yeah.
They're all on Netflix.
Mhm.
So
So if you want to get your feet wet.
yeah, and they will ruin your life.
They'll ruin your life. Even those versions, without reading the manga, like I encourage people generally to watch those movies because one, they're actually beautiful to look at. They're great animation, but it's a really good intro to the series. It usually encourages people to go read the book.
And then you get all your fillers in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and
It's a quick way to get into it, where you get like the full story, and honestly, it's soul crushing.
Yeah,
like
if you
Dean
want to be
says.
sick to your stomach, pissed off and angry with no sign of release,
For the next like 8 years
sounds
of
like
your
my
life.
Friday
watch
night.
it.
Absolutely. I've been angry since I was 13 years old. I've
Yeah,
not gotten over it.
yeah, it's
Absolutely not.
frustrating.
So anyway, back to the pre-orders.
Yeah.
Now this gut statue is massive. I think he's about, if I remember right, around 26 inches tall.
Wow.
Absolutely huge. About $700 after shipping.
Oh, okay.
And they offer great payment plans through their website. If you order from them directly, upwards to 11 months to pay off figures.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think most of my statues, like the majority of them, I've used the payment plans, and I'll have like 2 or 3 in pre-order at a time. And
That's crazy.
yeah, it's awesome. And it's only, $30 here for one figure. I think Guts is costing me only like $60 a month.
I've been trying to break into the game for quite a while, and there's always like this statue that, like, there's a Batman one from DK. I think it's I forget which. I think it's like the Master Race or something, where he's like holding a rifle.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it, but it's like 1,000, and I'm like, I don't know. And then now that they released, I think this one was Prime One released the Batman from I forget what comic it is, but Greg Capullo did it, where he's like on a motorcycle and stuff like that. It looks really cool, and I think this one's gonna be my first statue. I think it's at 22 inches tall and like 24 inches wide. So yeah, I don't know where I'm putting it, but
They're massive.
How much is that one?
they haven't released the price yet.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say the thing with statues is they only go up in price.
Yeah, I know. There's the Ben Kenobi that came out. It was like 300. That's ago.
Yeah.
1,500.
Like, oh, $1,000. I don't know if I should get it. It's like, well, when you finally decide that you want, it's gonna be $3,000.
No.
Yeah.
That's,
And that's-
not even an
Oh, go ahead.
exaggeration.
Oh, go ahead.
Were you gonna talk about Shakti?
No, actually, I was going to talk about Shea Vizsla. The only statue I ever owned, Gentle
Oh.
Giant, released one out of 750. JV's left for
That's right.
relaunch.
Tell the story.
I don't think there's a story behind this.
I thought you got it like real cheap and then you sold it and then the.
Oh no, I just pre-ordered it and I sat on it for a couple of years and sold it for like 4 times what it was.
Oh, that's
what I
right,
paid
that's
for
what
it.
it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, I owned it. I kept it in the box and turned around and sold it.
Yeah, if you can get your hands on the statues during the pre-order period, you better, because just to give you an example, one of my favorite statues, and Dean loves this one too, is my Metal Sonic exclusive.
Oh, dude.
nice.
Now, Metal Sonic is arguably one of the finest pieces they've ever made. I think at the time he was about $230 for the exclusive edition. If you go on eBay right now, you'll find one for about $4,000 generally.
I believe it.
People are nuts when
Yeah,
it comes to these statues.
So I think that this might be my first one. I want to break into it, but every time I want to hit the pre-order button, I'm like, but that's like 5 figures. So it's like, I don't know if I want to be
Yeah.
a statue guy just yet.
Decisions.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
kind of like I would say that I'm nowhere near as much of a figure collector as Dean. I've
She's got a
got
few.
Leon Kennedy's out the wazoo. I just got a 3D printed one with the special edition of Resident Evil 2. The way he feels about Cloud Strife, I feel about Zidane Tribal from Policy 9, so I have tons of those.
One day we should have a pissing contest, Dean, me and you. We can see who has more Cloud stuff, more Vader stuff. I think you might win, but I think it'd be interesting.
Absolutely. And yeah, so as far as that's concerned, with collecting figures, I'm not like an expert like Dean, but I have
an
a-
expert.
He's not really like that much.
I have something new every week for this show.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think you're an expert. That means you have a lot of money.
I'm really jealous. I would love to have statues every week, but they're so slow to produce, and there's so much drama surrounding these companies.
Oh,
For
yeah.
instance, you mentioned Prime One.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Prime One. I just recently in December I also got Lady Maria from Bloodborne. That one was
Prime One.
$700.
Beautiful statue.
Beautiful,
I gotta see it.
absolutely.
I know nothing about it, and I went over there. I was like, oh my God.
It looks like something that could be in a museum. Like, it's just gorgeous. And as far as Prime One is concerned, they also have payment plans.
Mhm.
So I've had a year to pay off, for instance, my Griffith statue,
Also from Berserk.
also from Berserk. An amazing statue. He was $1,000. So I had
Yeah.
$1,000 and he's a bastard.
That's true. Griffith is totally a bastard. But the drama surrounding the statue collecting forums is absolutely insane. Like I honestly had no idea how bad it was until I started joining groups, because until then I was one of those ghost collectors who just sort of grabbed things as I saw them.
That's how I was with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then once you start joining the forums, for instance, one of my favorite ones is recently, I don't know anything about DC characters,
Mhm.
Hush Superman. I'm sure somebody knows what that is. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
that's one of the ones I was gonna.
Gasped.
Yeah, because that's one of the ones I wanted to get. Was from Part One, the Hush
Okay,
Superman.
I was like in awe of this beautiful piece of artwork. I was like, this is not just a Superman. I was like, if I were to imagine Superman in my brain, this is what my imagination would come up with. He was beautiful. Well, the statue comes with this really awesome mesh cape that
Right.
you can pose. Well, it just started this firestorm among the collectors that they wanted a sculpted version.
And then
Okay.
didn't they make one?
They did. So the artist was like, look, it's going to take extra time now to re-engineer this figure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to delay it. Well, they made a sculpted version. And the first thing that happens is they're complaining, well, it looks like it's so heavy, it's going to cause him to lean. Now I don't want it. And it's like all the people who were crying about having a sculpted cape backed out once they created it. And I was like, that's really messed up.
Yeah, they have the 2 versions on their website,
Mhm.
and I think the wired one is sold out, and I think the resin one's still available. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Well, the same
surprised.
thing happened with Griffith too.
Absolutely. Griffith,
People were throwing an ape, or going ape shit rather.
Throwing an ape.
Throwing apes and
Throwing ape shit.
Yes.
They were getting ape shit. Throwing. No, Because they didn't like the head sculpt.
Yeah, there were so many people complaining about him looking like Michael Jackson, and I was like,
No, Michael Jackson is amazing.
I didn't see it. I thought it was beautiful, honestly. I was like, that looks like Griffith to me. But there was enough people that complained. Like, we're angry because he doesn't look like Griffith. He's not pretty enough. And then on top of that,
Griffith is real beautiful.
he's not wearing his helmet. What kind of BS is this? So I'm thinking, hey, that's true.
We compare
I
this
loved-
to Hot Toys, but they don't listen to us.
Yeah, and so the artist, his name's Jay, that's what everyone calls him. He was kind of heartbroken by the criticism. He was honestly kind of upset, and I felt bad for him because he's like, this is like a beautiful piece for us. We're not going to change it. Well, the pressure got so high that he eventually caved, and they redid his face, and they offered, as a peace offering of sorts, the helmeted version exclusively through Prime One's website.
Nice.
Well, guess what? The complaints start again. Well, Griffith is holding his helmet. It's going to look stupid if he's got his helmet on and he's holding it. And they're like, well, yeah, of course, we're going to re-engineer an arm, like a switchable arm.
Yeah.
But then it became, this is not fair that it's exclusive to Prime One, because Prime One's shipping for Griffith, I
I've
think
heard
I
it's
paid,
insanely expensive.
yeah, I paid $300.
Yeah, that's another
For
reason
shipping.
why it's like just their shipping alone is a figure.
Yeah, and
A hot
Griffith
dog
is going to
figure.
come in 2 boxes, I believe, so.
Yeah, but it's also a big ass statue.
They're huge, man. 1/4,
Massive.
1/3. Yeah.
So Griffith has literally been delayed probably over a year at this point. I heard he was delayed again just like an hour ago when I checked their Prime One Studio Collectors group on Facebook.
Yeah, I follow Rad Titan for all the like statue news and stuff on YouTube. There's like these 2 blokes out in I think they're like London or wherever they are, and they're just like really funny dudes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, statues. I didn't know all that shit until she started collecting statues. Like,
Oh yeah.
God, people are outrageous.
dude,
No,
Because
no,
we definitely have our complaints, but I mean, they're making companies re-engineer statues over here.
absolutely. And I think the problem is worse with Prime One Studio because given their price, I think people feel more entitled to their opinions,
mhm.
which may or may not be true. I'm not saying
Also,
it's-
once they cave, the people know they'll cave.
Yeah, you just
So
gotta
they'll
complain.
complain every time.
Yeah, and so with First More Figures, oh man, the Nintendo fans are like probably the sweetest people. They never have complaints.
They're like,
just
hey, you're
"This is
making
amazing."
this awesome.
They made First More Figures made this Bowser that's probably like
Oh,
this
he's
big,
huge.
absolutely huge. And I was like, they were going nuts over that, and they said, nothing but praise about this Bowser. And I was just like, he's really cute. I love that. I mean, I don't love Bowser enough to buy that, but just aesthetically, I was like, this is a really beautiful piece of work here. But when you go into these forums where people are paying upwards of, like me, I paid $1,300 for Griffith.
Mhm.
I already had him paid off for a while, but there's people who want their dollars worth out of this, and if it takes crying and organizing literally groups within the group to protest a statue, they'll
Yeah.
do it. They'll absolutely do it. So
Crazy
kind of
news.
interesting stuff.
It's insane.
I believe it. Well, so speaking of news and some DC stuff, for the DC report, I don't want to spend too much time. I know Doom Patrol came out as a new online series. It's like a ragtag team, almost like Suicide Squad. Kind of cool. It looks interesting. I think I want to check it out. And then on top of that, they released more photos of the Huntress and Black Canary from that new Birds of Prey movie. And
Oh, that's right.
it looks so.
I
I like
finally
them.
saw the ad for that.
I like them. I thought they were cool. So I can't wait. I'm kind of like more on hype
Whatever
of it.
gives me more Harley Quinn.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a little bit on hype on board of that. So I'm like, true.
My favorite parts of Suicide Squad are all
It's all Harley.
Harley, which is like, I'm known to be quite vexing. It's like, shut up!
So I can't wait. So that's all I got from my DC.
Nice.
So for the custom corner, I have my Return of the Jedi Luke, which I finally feel
Dude,
is
sitting here, I'm super chill.
I finally have a good Return of the Jedi Luke. So my recipe from the top down is the Hot Toys Return of the Jedi head, the Sideshow bodysuit, the Hot Toys DX07 belt with pouches removed, and I dyed the belt sort of like a brownish black.
Yeah, it looks really good.
The Hot Toys boots, and I'm using the stock Hot Toys body with the stock Hot Toys fat suit, which really doesn't look bad at all with the Sideshow's tailoring. The Sideshow figure has just incredible tailoring. I literally
This is insane.
hate the Hot Toys suit. I know that there's a lot of people on some of the forums that can't accept that Sideshow potentially tailored greater than Hot Toys, but
That Magnus
it's
is crazy.
absolutely true.
I believe in them because like their Boba Fett
How
is
many
better than
pouches
Hot
do you
Toys in my
have?
opinion.
Like 50,000. The DX07 pouch have like, it has all the different.
Oh, this is the DX7 build.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I really enjoy
I
this.
officially hate it already.
Ooh. I tried it with the DX07 head modified, but I know you guys didn't really like it too much. Manny kind of roasted me.
Hey
so.
man, it's your figure. You didn't-
No, it is, but I think looking at it now,
Kinda.
no. Looking at it for a week, with everything the way it is, I could not be happier with this thing. It looks amazing. I have a green CCFL Saber, just looks awesome with it. And actually, I did switch out the right black glove for the Sideshow black glove. They're a little bit more malleable, and they actually give you a gripping hand.
Yeah, I don't know
So-
why.
Well, I've made one with Hot Toys by ripping the Saber off the hand, but as far as like stock without damaging your figure, they didn't give you one.
Right, which is
Bananas, because the
weirdest
Endor
things.
figure has it.
We need to
Because he
complain
wears-
more at Hot Toys.
Yeah, we need to start our groups within our groups.
Yeah, there you
Auxiliary. So that is my custom corner showcase. I know Rainer also has some things that he wants to talk about with Star Wars. I'll let him go ahead and take over the podcast.
All right. Well, first of all, on my news with sort of custom, I have finally started my mock of the Ghost from Rebels.
It's insane.
So for those of you unfamiliar, a long time ago, I got my hands on the instructions from Brickball to build the Ghost, and there was a lot of drama with getting the parts, the pieces I needed, and a lot of drama with them sorting the parts and everything else. And I finally have started construction last night.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's gonna
it's
be insane.
daunting.
I think you said that it
That's the
was.
only word I can think of looking at it. He sent me a video. I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't have any pictures of it, my workspace yet, but it's chaotic. To
I
say
think
the
you were
least.
saying, Rainer, that it's so big that you have to build it where it's going to live
Yeah.
because you can't
It's bigger
fit
than.
it through like doors and just. That's
So for those who are
literally
Lego fans listening, this thing is supposed to be bigger than the new UCS Falcon released last year. So this thing is probably, I can't even get it in the camera shot, but it's probably going to be about at least 3 feet long and 3 feet wide.
Yeah.
So
They're
the
probably
size
like
of-
2 feet tall.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Or
Yeah.
well, like a foot and a half.
it's over 11,000 pieces. It is very massive, and it is a huge undertaking. And there was a lot of drama that went with, in my personal life, with trying to get this, get the pieces for it.
If anyone's gonna knock it out,
it's gonna be really.
it's gonna be Rainer.
Mhm.
This dude could build Lego sets in his sleep.
He may even do it. I don't know.
I think he's done it before. I think one time I dropped him off, he was gonna take a nap, and he sent me a picture of a Lego set. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I wake up every morning and I just see these sets building. And I'm like, I just have elves. There's an elf infestation. Instead of roaches, I get elves.
I'm not kidding. That actually happened. We went and bought the Lego set. I dropped him off, and like later on, it was done. I was like, dude,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it done because I know you've been gathering the pieces for quite a while.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
So I did what's called brick linking the pieces, which is basically when you order mock instructions, generally what happens is you get the instructions in a PDF, and then you get the parts list, and you take the parts list, you upload it to Bricklink, and it'll tell you what you need. And you buy it from third-party sellers around the world. And I was just shocked when I first saw the price tag for this thing.
I didn't want to know. I'm scared to know.
I'm going to tell you, it was by the time
Is there a
shipping was done, it was probably about a $3,000 investment.
Holy shit!
Shit, there's a comma.
Yeah.
Do we catch it on the live?
I believe so.
So
this is
that was naturally
Yeah, you can push it down more, but
That-
that kind of makes the neck look a little weird.
oh, I see.
so that was naturally a gift from my folks. I don't have the capital for that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, dude. Goddamn.
Can your folks, like VR folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Can they
awesome.
adopt me?
So, Jazz Inc. also put up, they have their own Facebook group where they show off the products and the production process, kind of like we have for Auxiliary. And they showed off the Falcon cargo hold, which is the hollow chest and then the couch. And Yoast mentioned that they're potentially considering to release it as a standalone. That would obviously be a little bit cheaper than buying the full diorama. So that looks really exciting. Dean, what do you think about it? I'm just showing you the video here.
Wanna.
Dude, it looks
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Every day I'm like this much closer to making an order.
I've
It looks
wanted
awesome.
a Jazz Inc. diorama for the longest time,
Uh-huh.
and they just don't last when they get posted.
Yeah,
You know, on the secondhand market.
yeah.
I'm really strongly considering getting the speeder.
Get the speeder, dude.
Dude, you need to get the speeder. You have everything because also Yoast put up a video today, and or maybe it was yesterday. He showed that you can Dremel the Sideshow C-3PO's legs to allow him to sit. Now, obviously,
Oh, nice.
you can never display him straight up because he'll have 2 channels cut. There's a little barbell that you can articulate. So I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in, but you
If I
do
got
have
a
the
second
option.
C-3PO.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do have the option to.
Like if Hot Toys came out with theirs, whenever the hell that is, I would definitely be able to do that with my Sideshow. Because
Yeah.
hopefully the Hot Toys is a better scale. Because my
Mhm.
C-3PO is a fucking giant.
Yeah.
He's like 6'2". He's just as tall as Han Solo.
Yeah, he is quite large for the size. But it looks really cool, and obviously they have all that stuff up for pre-order on their website. I know, I personally, the one thing that really has caught my eye, it's actually a few things. The budget Death Star diorama,
Mhm.
just for taking toy photography pics, like to set it up as a standalone unit,
Yeah.
if it can be set up standalone. They have like a 40-inch long shelf that you can display. I think it's like up to 10 figures on.
Mhm.
That looks really cool. And then the Vader meditation chamber is extremely tempting for me personally because I'm a
Yeah, I
huge
don't know
Vader
why
fan.
you don't own that or have it on pre-order.
I'm tempted, but I don't know. I don't know where to put it. The thing is, like, I have a nice windowsill that I can put things on.
Dude, I'm just saying they're a sponsor and you don't own something from them. It's kind of insulting.
Ooh. Well, we'll have to see about that. And Mr. Co-host, you also don't
Yeah.
have anything from them. So our question of the week from last week was a figure that you regret passing on. Mervin started us out. He said,
But we already answered, right?
"We do what? Yeah, we answered last.
Yeah,
week.
we answered that.
He said, so for this week's answer, I have some, not a lot, in the 112 scale, but the 112 scale has to be the SHF Goku Black.
Oh,
He had them on pre-order, then he
So
canceled
sad.
it. And he said for 6 scales, 2 biggest regrets are the 1/6 scale Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord, both volume 1 and 2. He could have pre-ordered them both, but he didn't. And then also the Imperial Disguise Jyn Erso 1/6. He
I
said
did.
that,
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I did send them the link to the pop culture one for a good price, so you might consider buying that one.
nice. Our good listener, our official, actually, we have an official title to bestow upon him. Ian Ashton, aka Sutton, aka our EU correspondent, or actually Brexit. Maybe he's just our England correspondent.
Yeah.
If Brexit goes through,
I thought it did go through.
they're still kind of dotting the i's and crossing the t's. Yeah, they're like, yeah, they're trying to get Theresa May out of there. But enough about that. Politics weekly.
He needs to come. He needs to call in and give us the full.
Yeah, Ian, how are you over there? So he says the figure I regret passing on is Sideshow Greedo. He saw one for pretty cheap and thought, nah, I'll get it another day. But now he says every time he sees one, he'd have to sell his kitty to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
You don't
And he said for an older Sideshow figure, it's just not something he's really willing to
Right.
do.
Yeah, because they're really not the best.
So our question of the week for this week, and I'm going to monologue here for just a little bit to explain the question, but it's how collecting has impacted your life. I'm curious to see what it's done for you. So for me, obviously I met all of you guys. I know we've mentioned it before through collecting, and you guys are really great. Like this week was a pretty hard week for me.
Yeah.
Tuesday we took my dog to a vet appointment. And everything was looking like really good. Like they had a pretty positive outlook for, I wouldn't say the remainder of his life, but they kind of like, we had a long-term plan of care for some conditions he was dealing with. And less than 24 hours later, we were back at the vet, at the emergency vet, and later that night we had to put him down. And it was a pretty rough decision.
It's the worst.
Yeah, and we had him for 7 years, and obviously when you have a dog, like you kind of expect like, okay, like 12 years, 13 years, and you kind of plan your life around that. And like I'd imagine like, oh, like my kid's gonna be in kindergarten, and she'll be able to play with the dog. It's gonna be awesome. And for me, like I had texted Dean when I got to the emergency room. I was like, hey, just want to let you know, like,
Oh yeah, because we were going back and forth about Vader.
yeah,
You're like, hey, I gotta go.
yeah. So that night, obviously, like it's a process. Like you take your dog in, and they try to do everything that they can, and you either get to a point where they're like, okay, like you can go home, or you might have to make that difficult decision. And I know, like obviously, Manny works really early, Jesse works really early, but all of you guys, like in our group chat, were up with me until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Just kind of like we were just like distracting from inevitably what would happen. And I really appreciated that because for me personally, like it was really hard, and I don't think that I would have been able to be here today. Not like something bad would happen to me, but like to get back to this headspace to be able to record.
Right.
Really, you guys really helped me out a lot because really it really took a toll on me. And then not only that, but we have so many listeners that every day I'm getting emails or messages or tags like, oh, this is a great show, check them out.
Yeah.
And so I felt really encouraged, like, hey, like I want to let our listeners down, like obviously it really sucks what happened, but I really needed to get myself ready for today.
Yeah.
And so that's really how collecting has impacted my life personally, because I mean there's even been things like there was one time I was going in for a medical procedure and I was kind of really anxious about it, and Deanie came over and we hung out until like super late, and then the next morning I had the procedure.
PM.
Yeah, well, but like when I moved, Dean and Rainer offered to help me move, and like you guys both kind of came over and were helping me like move stuff, and that's how it's affected me. And I'm curious, do you guys have anything you want to share with how?
Yeah, it's just I'm definitely a different person I was 4 years ago. I think is how long I've been like collecting. I have I still have like my friends that I grew up with, but I have like a totally new group of friends. Or even like hobbies, like going to toy shows or Comic-Con. I never went to any Comic-Cons growing up, but now it's like, when's the next one? And Rainer and Jesse and I are planning on going one next month.
Yeah, March.
In New Braunfels. We'll get some video for the channel and just go shit to shit, see what's going on.
Not bad.
Making connections with like Ken,
Flash our shirts.
other sellers.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I've never worn matching shirts with anybody that wasn't a football team. So, like, I don't know. I just like
Hey, this is a brand new type of team.
Yeah, the
Coming soon, the Collecting Weekly football.
relationships.
Dude, we got some pretty
Just-
beefy guys here, man.
Yeah, the
There you go.
relationships are just like.
Yeah, so the relationships.
Yeah.
Dean, what about you?
Yeah, in fact, my first Comic-Con was this past year.
Oh,
I went with
sure.
Dean and Rainer. So
Hey.
they entertained me. I went in full hunk garb from Resident
Oh,
Evil.
yes. I remember that. Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's exactly the same as what you two have said so far. Like you meet so many cool people and they're all into the same thing as you, and you don't feel so weird
Yes.
walking around dressed like Hunk,
Yeah, before, in fact, you could probably just things I bought or whatever. And it wasn't until really that we started doing this, or like that I started following you guys, like, oh, everybody else is posting their stuff. Like, I should post my stuff too. And I started posting my figures, and I always thought, like, oh, people will probably think I'm weird or like I'm a nerd. And now I just like don't give a shit. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm a nerd.
Now it's cool.
Well, it was
Oh,
funny
man,
because
you get
when
that.
I shared on my personal Facebook about that, it was the show that Ammunition was here, and we took that really cool group shot, and I was like, oh, like, if you don't know, like my best friends and I were on this podcast. Dude, so many of my friends that I don't think that they collect, but they shared it. They're like, dude, like, let me listen. Like, that's awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah. I just wanted to point Foosh really quick, Rogo. He made a comment the other day at the end of one of his episodes. He's like, people always try and like talk down about collecting, like, oh, you collect dolls.
Uh-huh.
Like people always like kind of like throw that word at you to like hurt your feelings.
Usually the statue people like call them dolls.
Yeah, like,
Every time I've ever met a statue person, they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, those hot dolls or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well,
Whatever,
and he
yeah.
was like, you know what, like,
your premium formats.
yeah, they're all dolls. Action figure was just a term used. They came up to sell it to toys.
Yeah.
And he's like, call them dolls all you want. You're not hurting my feelings. And like, it wasn't until he put it in the words and I was like, that's exactly what I feel like now. Like, I don't give a shit what people say. Like, all my like good friends that I collect with and that I've met through collecting, like, they know it's awesome.
It's kind of weird because my experience has been, I guess, kind of different. Like everyone is so good spirited about the collecting. Like, you know, people, when you show off your collection, there's none of this like, oh, that's dumb, or, you know, I've always had the experience where people are just really proud of what you've collected. Like they're so proud of you. Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, look at this thing you worked really hard to get
Yeah.
for hours at work.
Statues are thousands of
And it
dollars.
makes you so happy.
Yeah, that's what like I guess the civilians of the world, where they look at your collection and they're like, okay, cool. How much is this? And you say that and they're like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah,
And
I've
they're like,
definitely had friends come over before where they're like, this is lame. And then before they're gone, they're like, this is really fucking
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, look at these figures right here. Like, no one looks at these and thinks about, you know, generally the process of, you know, all the hard work and also the,
Yeah.
you know, going through all these websites and competing with people to get your hands on them. Like, it's
Yeah, they're like,
impressive
oh,
when you think
damn,
about
Luke
it.
Skywalker. I remember the first time I saw the movie, and then they're off on a tangent.
yeah.
Yeah.
It brings,
Oh, it is.
these things kind of bring a lot of happiness to people.
Yeah.
Easy.
Rainer, do you have anything that you wanted to share for the question?
Yeah, you know, I started collecting. Really, I was kind of loosey. I want to turn loosey goosey about it, but I really was until I met Dean, and then I met you guys, and my collection really took off. And you know, how it's affected me is, you know, really the connections you make with people, the bonds and the friendships, and how we come together during a crisis.
Also financially.
Too. But really how we come together during a crisis, for those of you who listen, I've hinted at this before, but about 2 years ago, I was involved in a serious car accident, and I broke both my legs, had a brain injury, torn rotator cuff, just all kinds of badness.
Yeah.
I was staring down the barrel, and I was in a pretty dark place. I was staring down the barrel of possibly a long recovery and never being the same guy again. And the people around this table here rallied around me, except for you, Jesse. Pardon me, I didn't know you at that point.
We didn't know him.
I didn't know you.
Shots
Well, I
fired.
wasn't invited to your wedding,
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
But no, these people rallied around me. You know, they even bought me a figure from somebody else who put it up in one of the groups we were part of.
Yeah, for your Christmas gift, we got you the veteran clone trooper. What is it? I guess the veteran is like the battle damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with the big rotator cannon, rotary cannon, whatever.
I know it was a gift, but I still try and get it from him.
Right.
They still ask me, "Hey, you selling that?" I'm like, never selling it. But no, it really just brightened up my day. You know, seeing these guys checking in on me. You know, seeing what they're up to, and seeing their collections, and knowing that when I get back on my feet, I can start competing again and trying to improve mine. You know, because me and Dean had a bit of a rivalry going for a while.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Rainer was actually just a reseller. He would buy cheap and then sell it like a little bit.
Not quite a scalper, but I would go to
Yeah.
And pawn shops
really,
or whatever.
His collection when we started hanging out was just Lego.
Yeah,
A whole lot of Lego.
a whole lot of Lego, a few Black Series. I think.
Yeah, and now his collection it's all over the place. It's nice.
Yeah,
A lot of Black Series. He only collects inbox, and then his 6 scale. How many are you on now?
over 50. I know we had a rivalry going on for a while. We were neck and neck. Like, you know, Dean had more, and at the time I was exclusively Star Wars. You know, so that was the thing.
Now he's branched out.
Yeah, I branched out a little bit.
So I would say the friendships and the bonds, because before this I was just a loner and on my couch, just like looking at the figures by myself, having no one to talk to about them. And my wife, like, she's into it and she likes it, but she doesn't care all that much to break down details and stuff.
Did you
Sometimes.
see this shit?
Yeah, she's like, I saw you that you posted. I was like, you can show it to me again. I'm like, yes. I want to vent. But yeah, and I just like
One
it.
head sculpt, are you kidding me?
Yeah, what is the hair? And I don't know. But so yeah, the friendships and the memories we're gonna make, and we're gonna look back a year from now and be like, dude, remember when we had like 50 listeners now? Like, look at us now. So like all the memories we're gonna make and all that stuff. I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if
So we
you
all
want
have the
to,
same answer.
yeah, basically, if you want to answer our question of the week, email me, Zach@collectingweekly.com. Again, it's the impact that collecting has had on your life.
It's like, I got a divorce.
We'd love to hear it. So
Don't do that
we did
while
this
drinking.
once, and I thought it was really neat. We did this once, I thought it was really neat, but we had a listener email us, Mervin48. He's looking for the Walgreens Marvel Legends exclusive Johnny Storm / Human Torch. He's looking for the hands and the flames. So if you have those and you want to get rid of them, hit him up on Instagram. His username is MERVINE48.
I think I have that actually in box.
I was gonna say, I think I just saw it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
And I
I
was just at your place.
have it in a box somewhere. I think I'll get back to y'all. on
Send me
that.
the picture, and you don't have an Instagram, so send it to me, and I'll send it to him. And we'll see if we can. Wow, I should have asked you before the show started. But a wonderful moment just happened.
Yeah,
We're
it
live
was,
on
but
the
you
air.
were saying, I was like, I just saw that figure somewhere.
Hey, so
I know, I
it's
don't know.
I know I was trying to sell it for a while. I don't think I ever did.
it's so it's that time of the podcast, shout out time. I wanted to give some shout outs. 10 DMFG on Instagram obviously has helped us create this wonderful Darth Vader head sculpt, and it's going to help a lot of people get their perfect Vader. We also wanted to give a shout out to Brian and Chris, 6 Scale Scavengers. They have a new episode coming out this Friday, so we're recording this the week
I
of
like how we're like,
Valentine's Day.
shout
Yeah,
out for shout out.
no, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
we have a
no,
little bit of a collab going.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you look at the recording laptop, Dean, you'll see the
Yeah.
6 Scale Scavengers and a vintage viewport sticker.
Yeah.
So Brian and Chris, great guys there. They run an excellent show. It really, a lot of the content that we talk about, they also talk about 6 Scale, DC, and Star Wars as well. There's also the Mint and Sealed Box podcast, King Zachary V and Justin from Justin's Collectibles. They run that show, which is really cool. Really good show, excellent audio. They branded themselves the official 1/6 Scale podcast.
And you know what the best part about those shows are?
What's that?
Theirs aren't boring.
Yeah, they clearly, 6 Scale Scavengers and Mint and Sealed Box, definitely not boring podcasts.
Yeah, not like ours. Yeah.
Manny, we need a boring T-shirt graphic. If you can come up with
Dude,
something.
they
Put it up on TeePublic.
Yeah.
We also wanted to give a shout out to this is his username, his name on Facebook. I don't know if it's his real name. His name is Gare Bear. I assume that's
Gary.
a pseudonym. Gary.
Gary Berry.
He's one of the 6 Scale Scavengers listeners, also Collecting Weekly listener, and he said some really nice things about our Hoth in Here episode.
Oh, nice. Well, he's extremely handsome, and
Frankly, ladies.
yeah, love him.
So, and then also we have, let's see here. We did a Collecting Weekly bingo, which was kind of fun.
Oh, that was
And
cool.
we got about 100.
I hated that I didn't.
Yeah, we
win
got about
anything.
100. Well, we got about 100 people, not only on Auxiliary, but on 1/6 Republic and Tashi Station in total participate. We just kind of put up some things like broken a wrist peg or commission a head sculpt. And
Right.
a lot of people are like, oh, I got bingo. And it was funny because one of the things I put was listens to podcasts for collecting. And when people didn't do it, I would say like, oh, maybe you can get bingo by listening to Collecting Weekly. And we got some people that are listening now because of it. So it's a little bit of a marketing
Good
thing.
job, guys. We're proud of you.
We also have a ton of people in our YouTube live stream. Obviously, Mervin, Damien, Manny, Sean is here with us. Lots of people. Marco is here. Tons of people listening to the live stream, so we appreciate that. You guys have been blowing up this chat. There's like 1 billion comments, and we'd love
I
to see
need to
it.
go check it out.
It's insane. Dean, did you want to give any shout outs before we kick it off?
Just to my sister for being here today.
Hey,
Yeah,
shut up.
thank you guys. That
Yeah.
was super fun.
Yeah.
Do you have
I
any shout outs?
Shout outs, no, not that I can think of.
Not to Prime.
We'll shout out our mom.
Shout out your mom.
Yeah, I wonder if any other collecting podcasts have had a female on theirs. We're pretty progressive over here.
There you go.
Nice. Rainer?
I'd like to give a shout out to you, Zachary, for the Thanos.
Oh, thank you for buying it. Because you bought the Thanos from me, right? And I bought a Mezco Batman Beyond because Manny was talking about Batman Beyond last episode. I was like, man, I need a Batman Beyond. And then the next day, someone put up a Hot Toys Stormtrooper, which we'll talk about next week when I get it. And it was like, there's a little bit more than I paid for the Mezco. So I was like, shit, I need to sell the Mezco. And Dork Dad podcast, Joseph picked up that from me. I still need to get it to him, and then it let me buy the Stormtrooper. So thank you for that. You kicked off a chain of events. Now I have a new figure coming in for next week. Jesse, do you have any shout outs?
You covered them, man. Zach, everyone else from all the other podcasts. So you covered it, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Manny.
Yeah,
also.
shout out Manny.
Hey, Manny, he's watching
I
right
know,
now. What's up,
sir.
Manny?
Talking BH.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening again. All of you guys, like I said, this was a really hard week for me. So you guys, all of you listening and chiming in with your positive words of encouragement, even those people who call our show boring, it's still a view for us. So I don't give a damn what you think about our show. Oh man, that is incredible stuff. But again, thank you everyone. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday for our regular episode, and then like I said, we're recording Tuesday a live show, or Sunday a live show, but that won't go live until the beginning of March. We're gonna backlog it for a week off. So you guys have a good week, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Like,
Laters.
That was good. I'm probably gonna get this one up tomorrow morning because my wife said the baby's been crazy. I need to mix it with mayonnaise stuff, but that was about an hour 45 podcast.
That was nice.
Nice.
I got that green.
Well, hopefully there's someone out there who figures, hey, you know what? Now I can go get myself a statue. I mean, I don't know if it worked or not, but
Dude, I want to break into it big time.
Yeah,
And I think that Batman should be my first one out.
yeah, there's so many, especially Prime One had like massive amounts
Still
of
live,
DC
yeah.
licenses for basically every comic book,
Hopefully,
like, side story. And
yeah. Hopefully you guys like the show. There's going to be a little bit of mixing I need to do. We had some random stuff happening in the beginning, so I got to mix everything together. And then also we got to splice in Manny's review. So I would expect the podcast to be up probably by about 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. I have a daughter that's 2, and my wife said she's being crazy in the other half of the house, so we got to
Aw.
get that girl to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thanks a lot. I wanted to mention the podcast, but about community. I invited Jesse to my Super Bowl party. He said he was going to come, and then he didn't come. So
Wow.
I just wanted to mention
What
that.
happened?
No.
He said he was meal prepping, whatever that is.
It's because my lady's been out of town for like a whole week, and I can't do anything. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to do anything without her. So when she left, I was meal prepping, and then I got lazy, and then I have to wash all the dishes. Like
We even made extra food because Jesse was coming, and then we had to throw it away. I'm just kidding.
Dude, you know what I was doing on Super Bowl Sunday? Working. I would have loved to have been
Yeah.
gone.
Hey, Manny said he's gonna get a boring graphic made for us. Manny, please, and I need to make it for TeePublic. I'm gonna buy this. Man, just put boring weekly. Oh man. Anyways, guys, hope you guys like the live stream. We're gonna cut it off here as everyone's packing up. Jessica, can you do us the honors?
Yep, I got you.
Bye, everyone in YouTube land. You guys have been great. Stay tuned tomorrow morning for the episode.
bye.
Wait.